blockade? The message is clear. The Nox event is contained. I repeat, the Nox event is contained.
What happened here? What's happening here? It's not contained. I had to find what I needed to survive and fight. But there were too many. And this is how I died. The next time, I was smarter. I moved between the shadows, between the infected. But I wasn't smart enough. And this is how I died. I knew I had to leave this place. I found an empty farmhouse, a place where they'd never find me. I prepped, built defenses. I farmed, I fished, and found a generator to keep me warm through winter. But it needed fuel. There was a gas station back out on the road. I took the car and risked the noise it made. But I would never make it home. This is Project Zomboid. Survive together. Build. Scavenge. Fight. Die. Project Zomboid, the ultimate zombie survival RPG.
Well, all right. It is Thursday night. Welcome, as always, to Thursday Night Stream with G-Law. You can take it to the bank, right? Right, Brad? And hello, EV23. I almost didn't say it. The EV23. Best TV in the internet. Guaranteed. Just like Thursday Night Stream. Hey, Nick. It is the third week of Zomboiding. Although the actual game, I've been actually playing other games, but I'm still into Project Zomboid right now. I got obsessed this week with a game called Grow. I forget the whole title. It's got some Grow, Keeper of the Tree, or something like that. It's sort of like, trying to remember that one sort of chore crafting game where you're, My Time at Portia. It reminds me a little bit of that, in terms of like the feel of it, but at least so far it's a little less grindy, and it's got other stuff going on. But it's that kind of game where you have like a daily cycle and things you try to get done, and it's a really cool art style and stuff. I'd never heard of it until it popped up on my Humble bundle from the monthly choice, and I paid for the bundle early this month because I wanted to try it out. And then it's like the only game I've really played since, for the most part. Yeah, Grow's got good writing. Like, there's some really clever writing. The art style is really incredible. It does other things. It doesn't, like, when I got into My Time at Portia, it started getting, like, super... You had to build all sorts of crafting stations, and then it became that kind of supply chain game where to make the next thing, you got to make a million of the other things. And this game doesn't have that kind of cycle. This game's cycle is you're a keeper or a tender to this sort of spirit tree that is the source of all life in the universe. It's very hippy-dippy. And something went wrong, and this corruption took over it. The song of the tree went silent, and you're an alchemist, which is your job's to tend to the tree, and you found a way to start replanting life on the tree and driving back the corruption. And then as you're doing it, there was a city at the base of the tree where all your people used to live, and they all fled. So you're rebuilding the city as the corruption is driven back. So it's also like a little bit like a city builder, like a very lightweight city builder. Where people hearing that you're bringing the place back, so you get people that want to join your community, and you build them houses and different shops that they want to work at, and they generate revenue for you and stuff. But anyway, was thinking about streaming that, but I was like, I'm still into Project Zomboid. And I know you all love Project Zomboid so much. Right, Brett? Even, just the hope that I'm going to die horribly. Portia's filled with jokes that only make sense if you're very familiar with China. I didn't know that, but that could be because I'm not very familiar with China. Yeah, I really liked Portia, and the last time when I was streaming it, I think it was last year, it might have been 2 years ago, I was enjoying it, but then it just got too much when I realized, like, the next thing I had to do, how much grinding for materials I would have to do to get to the next, like, just build the next thing. I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to deal with this. This is too much. Hey, you prefer turn off the armor hack. Well, okay. I'm not turning off the armor hack, at least not right now. But I'm taking it under advisement. But in real life, you would be able to make armor. Now, Brad, I can understand your argument that the developers did not create this experience with people crafting armor in mind. But they also have a million different sliders. You can basically make the zombies very weak, or you can make the world with no zombies at all. So, you know, I think the developers are very much like, this is your sandbox, make it however you like. So, you know, I don't know that I would say I'm defying the intention of the developers. Although I haven't played the actual just regular survival mode in a long time. Because there's like the way that they do set it up where the zombies do respawn and all that shit. Because it really is you're not supposed to be able to tame this world the way that I'm taming it. But if I were in a zombie apocalypse, that's one of the main things I would want to do. Is be able, if I could clear my town block by block and kind of make it safe, that's what I would want to do. If I cleared all these zombies and then they just respawn, it's not that simple. Actually, it's got this mechanic where they won't respawn in areas that you're actively visiting. But if you don't go down the street or go down, a certain part of town, they'll start respawning there over time. So I'd be dead within an hour just like you. How much time have you played in Project Zomboid? You have it, right, Brad? But I don't know. I don't think I've ever... I wasn't even on my radar that it was a game that you ever played. or played. And, oh, hi, Nicholas. Sorry, I didn't say hello to you. What's going on? The zombies are overwhelming. And they still are. Like, as I found out before my first stream of this, or maybe it's between streams, when I tried to go to the next town, it's a little college town, I wanted to go to see if I could find skill books. And I almost died. Like, they almost surrounded my car so much that I couldn't, like, literally at a certain point the car wouldn't move. There were so many zombies around it, and I thought I was done. So anyway, I mean, as he is, he ended up dying of a bite anyways that he got during that excursion, but he did make it back home with the car, and so that's good. Let me see, hey, J Maxie. Zombie slave piece of shit. Camera piece of shit. Oh no, Maxie. Yeah, I've seen that you're still... I see it pop up sometimes that you're playing it. Is it frustrating you because it's like the wonky controls, or they're figuring out what to actually do? Is it like the learning curve that's frustrating you? I know the other thing that frustrates me still is I can just fuck up combat really easily. My mouse could be in the wrong place when I'm aiming, and I whiff it trying to hit a zombie, Oh, the helicopter event. Oh, that's a bitch. Yeah, usually what I do is I just run into the woods. I run off into the woods. Sometimes I can find a spot where there's no zombies, and then I just hide under a tree till it's over. In this particular playthrough, I made it through the helicopter event, but I was constantly being chased by zombies. But I went out in the woods outside of town and basically ran broad circles in the woods till the helicopter went away, and then I ran like parallel to the town in the woods until the zombies got lost behind me and then went back to town. Yeah, Nicholas, how you been? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hope you had a great holiday and so forth. Yeah, Nick, you turn off zombie respawns too. Wait, so you make the helicopter event have no limit, as in it can happen multiple times? That's interesting. That's an interesting way to mix it up a little bit, like to compensate, because that the helicopter follows you, and it draws zombies to where you are. And so that would be kind of interesting thing to be happening if you're in an area that you've sort of cleared, to see what comes back. Oh, dying to a tiny scratch. I mean, that's the thing about the virus is, I think the scratch, there's like a 10 to 15% chance that you will get a zombie infection. I've gotten many scratches, and without, I'd almost say it's somewhat common that I've gotten scratches. But there's always that anxiety when you get a scratch. It's like, oh, crap, is this going to be it, Dark Jake 13, Talons of Undead Justice. How you doing, Dark Jake? Good to see you, buddy. Hey, Dark Jake, I've been to, I can't remember if I told you, I got a Quest 2 for my birthday. I think your enthusiasm for the Quest 2 was a lot of what pushed me in that direction, and I got it, and I've been really enjoying it. So actually, even this week, I started playing because I bought a bunch of games during the winter sale, and I got the one of the ones I got was that Star Wars Immortal, or that Star Wars, or Vader Immortal, whatever, that Star Wars trilogy with the lightsabers. And I started playing that this week. It's 3 episodes, and each one is seems like an hour and a half. But yeah, I was kind of blown away. I'm really enjoying it. And I was going to ask you if you ever got the lens inserts, because I just wear them without my glasses, and I can see reasonably well. And I tried putting my glasses over. It just made me too nervous that I was going to scratch the lenses on the headset. And also, it didn't really seem to be improving my vision that much. Oh, you played on stream? Okay. Yeah, it's just the helicopters. Oh, you're telling Brad. I don't know exactly what the lore is behind the helicopter. Like, if it's supposed to be someone specifically watching you, or someone heard about a survivor and I don't know what their motivation is for stalking you, but it's not like they ever show up and help you that I'm aware of. A scratch is a 7% chance. Gets you every time. Oh my, I got so many scratches, Maxie. Yeah, I've played a few different games, and just simple stuff like the table tennis, because everyone's raving about it. I think I picked it up for under $10 or on a sale, and I played it, and I was like, holy crap! It's just the fact that it feels so real, and it's like, this is. And I ended up playing table tennis for about 2 hours, and I played so much, I don't get a lot of physical activity, so I'm kind of hoping that, and it already has a little bit, but I'm hoping that I'm gonna, doing Beat Saber, which came with it for me, and certain things like that, I get a little more activity in. And I played table tennis so long that the next day my ass hurt. My ass cheek muscles felt really sore, and I was like, what the hell happened? And my wife was like, it's probably you playing table tennis for 2 hours. If you're good at combat, the bites are pretty rare. Yeah, Brad, I mean, you have the benefit of, you've seen the nurse play. It seems like she gets in and out some sticky situations without getting in trouble. So combat is definitely and knowing when to run versus when to fight and that sort of thing. But really for me, it's like, I think a lot of the time I'm decent at combat, but I'm not great at it. Your ass hurts after playing a little ping pong too? Brad. The antibiotics don't do anything for the zombie virus. They absolutely do not. They do nothing for it. The only thing that they're good for is if you get an actual, like you can get an actual infected wound. Because if you get the zombie virus, they won't tell you. So if you get a wound and it says infected, that doesn't necessarily mean zombie virus. Like I've gotten infections from jumping through windows and when I forgot to remove the glass. So antibiotics are meant to take care of that, the literal wound infection. And I don't know if you can get like illness, bacterial illnesses. Like I know you can get colds and get sick. I don't know if they can help there either. You also have table tennis. Oh my god, Resident Evil 4 Dark Take. That game's too intense for me in like just on a screen. It was just too stressful and hard. I can only imagine it looks really good, but that's the reason I've steered clear of it. Is I just think it's gonna be even worse in VR. Like it's gonna stress me out even more. The one game I got really into for a while, for the first few weeks that I had it was I started looking through my Steam library for games with compatibility, or games that were known to have good compatibility patches. And Valheim, which I was really into last year for a couple months, Valheim has independent modders that have made patches for VR, and it's really well done. So I ended up getting sucked into Valheim VR for about three weeks. It's just kind of a cool experience to, that's an untamed world, and you're building little shelters and homes and houses and in first person. Going into your house during a storm by the fire and doing some crafting. It's like, oh, take that, storm. You really feel like you're surviving out there. I'm mediocre at combat. I have glaring lapses in judgment. I won't argue with that, Brad. You can change it. Yeah, and I play in sandbox. Like I've changed a lot of parameters. You can change a lot of stuff in the sandbox if there's something you don't like about the game. And that's the thing that's really good about those options too. Is if you're at a point where, yeah, I understand this is experience, like the normal experience, but because of this thing, I think I'm going to stop playing. Like, I would enjoy this game, except I keep getting infected by scratches. And now I kind of don't want to play it now because of that. If you're in that situation, that's where it's like, look, turn off the scratch. The zombie virus is on scratches. I mean, that was the main thing for me, which has given me a lot of longevity with Project Zomboid, is turning off respawn. That was one thing that I always felt like you have a limited character progression, but I also thought world progression. I wanted world progression. I wanted what I was doing to make a difference. Rather than, I mean, it could also just be realistic that you're in a situation where more zombies are just migrating into the area from outside the map. So, I mean, that's possible too, but still, it's how you want to look at it. You got chlamydia from watching my channel? Oh, Blade and Sorcery that game looks really good. It's definitely on my list of games that I probably pick up at some point. I'm a little backed up right now. I've gotten actually quite a few games, and some I haven't even tried yet. Like I got Half-Life Alyx. Well, I bought it on Steam because it was super cheap during the winter sale, and I haven't tried it yet. And I got both of the boxing games. There's like one that came out a couple years ago, and then there's the Creed one, and I have both of them. I haven't tried either one of them, but. Someone made a video comparing them and said, get both of them because they're good for different reasons. I was like, oh, okay. tabletop sim is one of the worst oh, oh yeah, they do have VR support for that. Yeah, I don't know how that would work out. I mean, it'd be cool if you just did it and it was like, in theory, some games like that could be easier in VR, but it's a tough decision if you want to decide if you want to continue after dying or start fresh. I almost feel like being able to start a new character in the same world is a little bit like cheater mode. But I'm only saying that because I've lived long enough to see what it's like, to see the power goes out, the power and the water go away. In the grand scheme of things, they go away at the beginning of the game. So I know initially the dilemma for me was, oh, well, I don't want to, that was sort of the dilemma is I really wanted to take advantage of the time when you had power and water. And I also wasn't really sure how to survive without those things. Like I wasn't familiar enough with game mechanics to know, like, it's like, I'm going to have to learn a whole like way to survive. And now it's sort of like, I'm just sort of used to not having those things. And once you don't have those things and you're used to it and you're surviving, then it kind of becomes like, well, I might as well take advantage of the crap I built up here. So to where it's like, this is Lawrence Hawk, the sixth that I'm playing now. There's a part of me that, for me, the dilemma is this cheater mode. It is some, I mean, I already have, as Brad would point out, I have lots of cheater elements in the game already. But yeah, it's I think starting from fresh has that kind of like that real Iron Man type survival, because there's not as much at stake if you just respawn. I mean, obviously you respawn, you lose all your abilities. It's not like you just pop up and it's like other games where, there's some real loss even if you do start a new character. But then there's part of me that's like, as a challenge, is it really fair to say that all this, like the base that I've built and all the neighborhoods that I've cleared, if it took me five Lawrence Hawks dying to get there, did I really have I really accomplished anything to be proud of? Or am I just I just don't know when to quit? Oh, and the fire station. I thought about doing that, Maxie. You like that there? There's a part of me that's like, feels like it would be too big. But, because I think, oh geez, because they got a nice setup upstairs. I think my fear would just be all the walking around I'd have to do. If I woke up upstairs, I'd probably be setting up a bunch of stuff down in that garage. Or would I? Because if those garage doors got busted open, you can't reinforce garage doors, can you? Anyways, I don't know, there were a few reasons why I considered because I considered going there and thought it would be good, because I do feel like I'm going to run out of space just in this house that I'm in. And it also, the houses in Rosewood, the neighborhood I'm in, and Rosewood, they all have detached garages. One thing I kind of liked in some of the other cities is being able to, if I wanted to, I almost never did anyway, so it's probably not an issue, but being able to park the vehicle inside the house, close the garage door, and have it set an entrance into the house that way. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, I never did that, so maybe it's... I did like being able to go to the garage without having to leave the house, though, because I use garage for like storage and stuff. You tired of doing the same shit over and over by starting fresh? Got to post a composting farming one. Yeah, I never even did farming until I've been playing, until last year. So there's a lot of stuff. I just never got that far. I just would die and then, whatever. Play, die, play, die, play, die, and then be like, all right, time to play something else. see, Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator. I think I've seen Simulator pop up on some, like, because I've watched, when I first got it, I was watching lots of videos about like what games people, top 10 lists and all that stuff, and Job Simulator came up quite a few times. And I think Vacation Simulator too. I have to look into it. So, but I gotta say, the VR it surprised me how good it works. It's not perfect, but it's actually a lot better than I was afraid it might be. Like, I was afraid I might get it and be like, oh, this is, because, for a long time I thought, not the current gen of VR, but as iterations of VR attempts at VR came out, like going into around the early 2000s, and it always just seemed like gimmicks, right? Like super expensive gimmicks that aren't practical. And really, we're at this point now where they're gonna get lighter. I think in the next few years, these headsets are gonna get lighter, and to where they're not gonna be big honking things that intimidate everybody. The mixed reality is gonna get better, and I really think VR is gonna become something that breaks into the mainstream, because I don't think we could consider VR in the mainstream at this point. It's not something that most gamers have, or most people have at that. But based on my experience with VR so far, and seeing like, oh, this shit actually works. Yeah, the technology to support it and to make it work is already like there and getting better. Yeah, that's true. Well, you said you were surprised when you got it as well, and I think the very first time that I put on the helmet and I just saw how it perfectly gets your movements within the virtual space. Like, I was afraid everything would be janky or stuttery, and it's not at all. If you get a little bit of stutter, usually it's in the graphics rendering, or if I'm playing wireless, I get a little, because I play through games through my PC wirelessly. I do have the cable, but I've come to enjoy not using the cable so much that I generally just try to avoid. I prefer not to most of the time. No, I haven't done Google Earth VR. I don't know if you brought that up or someone else did, but I know this isn't the first time it's been recommended. And then I think it's entirely I've forgotten, like, to check it out. But yeah, that could be kind of fun. I mean, that's the thing about the VR is there's lots of little different ways that, like, I don't do it all the time, but there's free programs so you can watch stuff in virtual environments, like watch shows and movies, and like, so one of them was sitting in a full size, like a big movie theater, and then getting onto HBO Max through my web browser on my computer and watching Star Wars, or not HBO Max, it was Disney Plus. But that was something that I haven't experienced. Well, I guess I saw Star Wars again in the 90s when they did the special editions. They released them in the theaters. But like watching Star Wars on a huge actual movie screen, and then I could do that and be like, wow, this is cool. Like, I'm in a theater. But yeah. Pornhub in VR? I'm not gonna ask if you looked into it, Maxie, because you have VR, right? Yeah, I might say mom on that. I thought about, because there are all those, like, this is my guilty admission. Station 82, how you doing? Came in at a weird time. There are all those adult games on Steam, and a couple of times I've been like, oh, they got some VR ones on there, but all the reviews are kind of like really shitty about them. But there was some part of me that was like, and I haven't even. I guess there's some you can play for free, but if everyone's talking about like all the reviews are saying they're shit, and so I just never want to do. And then also I was like, oh, all this like Steam's gonna track all the games I play anyway, so. No, the perfect time. Okay. I don't think I've even installed VR chat. Yeah, I don't know if like the socialization aspect of that is for me. That really, and you know, it could be misjudging this, but it really seems like that's something I would have really liked when I was a single in my 20s and early 30s. Going into the virtual world and like meeting people and socializing and whatever the hell else happens in there. I'm sure that there's a lot of hijinks. I probably would have loved that because I remember like when I discovered chat rooms in 1995, I was like, oh cool, I can talk to people. And it's like, I thought it was the coolest thing. I remember I was at UCLA and I would go on campus. I didn't have a computer with internet. But there were all these computer labs around campus and they gave you free, you know, that you got logins and everything. That's the first time I ever tried the internet. It was in 1995. And when I discovered like chat rooms and chatting with people, it's like, oh my God, I could talk to people all over the world. And so I would go to the computer lab. There was one 24-hour computer lab in the science, like the math building, and like in some back corner of it. And I used to go hang out in there until like 2 a.m, trying to meet girls. Oh, it's okay. Sorry, I looked away from the thing. The VR chat is not worth it and toxic. I know it's super popular. That's the other thing about the social aspect of things. The only social thing that I've done is there's a free casino game, like a VR. I forget what it's called. You've probably seen it, Dark Jake. And I kind of like casinos, but mostly I just go to slots, and I get mildly irritated when the other people in the casino in any way make their presence, like impose their presence upon me. One time I tried playing blackjack, and there were other people at the table, and it was actually kind of fun. Like this other guy sitting next to me was like telling me how to do stuff, and then they were bringing out all sorts of different toys, and he was taking selfies with me and the other people at the table, and it ended up like, wow, I could see this being a lot of fun. Yeah, Poker Stars VR. Yeah, that's it. What was that? The Sears lingerie catalog in VR? But I was still going through a thing where I was logging into the Poker Stars VR. I never played poker. But every day, or it's like every 8 hours, you can log in and spin like a Wheel of Fortune type wheel that will have a random amounts of numbers on it, like amounts of money that just get added to your bonus. And you know, for anyone that doesn't know, none of it's real currency. I don't think you can buy. Can you buy actual currency with money? I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it. I know I've had plenty of currency just from my checking in and spinning that wheel. I've got, I don't know, close to $200,000. I don't have Contractors VR. In fact, that one doesn't. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that one. Dark Jake, are you talking about Poker Stars? Or are you talking about Contractors? I'm gonna say cautiously no, because if you're thinking about gifting it to me, I get a little bit hesitant about that because I have too many games already. Most of the games I buy for myself, I don't end up playing. So it's like I very much like, yeah, I'm wary of accepting game gifts sometimes, unless there's people that are friends with me on Steam that look on my wish list. You can buy chips to play in game and star credits for the pro. Oh, okay. So you can buy the gambling money in Poker Stars. Oh crap! If you got a spare hanging around, do you like it? if you got a spare key hanging around and you don't know what to do with it and you don't have anyone else to give it to, I'll take it. Yeah, sure. You only play Project Zomboid, so G-Law will like you. Okay, it's not working so far. Some of the user-created chat rooms are cool, like Stormwind. I haven't gone through to look at that stuff. Are you still talking about the VR chat? Because also, Zuckerberg's trying to do his own thing in there too. The first day I got the headset, I ended up in Zuckerberg's VR world because it just seemed like it was part of like the onboarding tutorial stuff. Like there are different things like getting started when you first get the headset, and then I ended up like all of a sudden someone started talking to me and I was like, oh shit. I got the Zuck. So, I mean, again, it was one of those things that it could be cool. I know for me, it just felt like my wife and mother-in-law were in the next room the day that I got the headset, because it was during like Thanksgiving that week. And I was like, lost my train of thought. That's been happening a lot. I haven't been getting enough sleep this week. So yeah, so I got the headset and I'm playing around all this stuff and I keep running out showing them. I'm all blown away by it. And then I got into that chat room and I started talking and then I felt really weird. Because it wasn't like I went up and started talking to people. There was like, someone was like, hey, what's up, Claw? And I was like, oh, he's addressing me. I guess I'm either going to have to edit my name or people are going to think I'm called Glaw. But I'm not like, actually, it's G-Law. I didn't want to get into it. So just to open a new can of worms. But yeah, so that's one of those things too where like my wife is used to hearing me stream and I only do it once a week. But I'm like, if I were just in VR talking with people, I would just feel like almost weird about it. I'm looking over chat. I probably missed a bunch of crap. I always miss stuff. I get talking and then I don't look at the chat. I just end up looking around my room, looking around my screen, looking at the other monitor where my Project Zomboid game is sitting there, paused, waiting to be played. Oh, what is this? Brains! So, but yeah, that's one thing I wanted to mention too. Is as I'm probably gonna aim pretty strictly to stop playing around 10 and wind the stream down, because just for some reason I've been in an insomnia spiral this week where it's just I haven't been sleeping enough. So I definitely need to get some rest tonight, because today I started like at work having trouble doing my job. So usually I don't have that much trouble sleeping, but sometimes I'll get into this little habit where I just end up like not being sleepy when I should be, and just sort of rolling with it. And I really need to shut that down, take some like sleeping pills or something. Oh, Horizon Worlds, yeah. That's where it was. I think, yeah, is that what it's called, his thing? G-Law's 4 hours and unpopular metaverse software. My wife tonight was like, what are you going to play? She's like, you should play that Star Wars game. You know what it reminded me of? Dark Jake? If you're still, yeah, you're still there. Do you ever go to Disneyland and ride Rise of the Rebellion? The ride at Disneyland in their new Star Wars part of the park? Now, I've said before that I don't talk about the details of what's on that ride, because part of what made it amazing to me was not knowing what was going to happen or what that ride was capable of doing. Oh, sweet. All right, where'd you send it to me? Let me see. Guess I'll find it eventually. I'm assuming Discord or what's the other one? Twitch, Twitter, whatever it is. Twitter, that's it. Still on there, I think. James Baker, what's up, man? 6 watching now. Yeah, still, this has gone on longer than usual, but we've had a lot to talk about. Yeah, we went last month. We went to Disneyland, and well, we went to California. We spent a week in California. We drove down, and it was really cool. And sort of the crown of the trip was going to Disneyland, and that ride did things that it did things kind of like the way things happen in that game, where you go different places, you get in a ship, you get out of the ship. There's just like I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's not just like a roller coaster. Or at first I thought it was going to be, one of those where you sit in a box and that tilts back and forth. Well, and there is some of that actually, but there's a lot more. And the Millennium Falcon one was pretty cool. There's one where you're on the Millennium Falcon, you're basically inside of it, and it seems like an almost to scale representation of being inside the Millennium Falcon. And then you get routed up to the cockpit with a group of people, and each person takes a different station. Like there's gunners, pilots, and engineers, and Amanda and I were engineers. So when we would take damage, there are all these like buttons. There's all these buttons and levers all over our stations, and we'd have to like flip all the buttons, and to like they start flashing red, and you have to like flip them. That was kind of cool. I said no spoilers, but yeah. Now I didn't get in any fist fights at Disneyland. It wasn't even like a remote thing that almost happened. What did happen is I wore my classic red Dungeons & Dragons shirt that had the basic rules from 1980 logo on it. And surprisingly, like 6 people stopped me throughout the day to tell me they really liked my shirt. I didn't realize it was going to be that much of a hit. And I'm not used to people stopping me and telling me they like my shirt, but I felt like I was the big hotshot at Disneyland with my Dungeons and Dragons shirt. Those were the only random interactions I had with strangers. No fistfights. And Food Brother, Fila Contreras, call Happy New Year, buddy. How you doing? Just make an intro scene and call it the game. What I could do, I do a lot of playing games offline, is I just record that shit. I record hours of it, and then I'll come on stream. But people will figure it out. It's like performers that lip sync to pre-recorded whatever. I'd never get away with that. No one recognized me as the gaming lawyer. I don't think I've had enough exposure for that to be a worry. I would be very surprised if I went someplace and someone was just like, "Hey, it's the gaming lawyer," unless they were intentionally stalking me. then I'd be like, "Oh, great," but yeah. Yeah, the open gaming license. Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because, yeah, that could really mess a lot of things up, though. I can understand why it's a controversy. I could also understand why, from a business perspective, they have one of the largest franchises. Like they have a huge franchise in Dungeons and Dragons, and the idea was they're under monetizing it. Personally, I think they have a lot of better opportunities to monetize it than to do that. Because, I don't know. Well, it was like, if the people are making after $750,000, this is the thing that D&D is doing, is there's all these third parties that have unrestricted use of their game system. Not necessarily all their published books and materials, but their basic game system. The 5th edition rules. They have the license to use that in their own products for free, with no obligations, no requirements, don't have to ask permission. They can just use it. So that's where you get games like, Nick, what's that one? It's based on 5e. Like, that's an indie studio. You get lots of, well, Critical Role is the big example. Critical Role is entirely third party, and that is a huge, that thing is huge. And it drew so much attention to D&D, and that's what the controversy is if with policies like that in place, it's going to discourage people. What they have now is, if you're going to use it, I think you do need permission, and you've got to report the income you're making off of it. And if your income's over $750,000, starting with the money, sort of the way taxes work, you don't get taxed. You don't get taxed. You don't have to pay on the first $750,000. But everything over $750,000 you make, they're taking 25%. And so that's like, yeah. And then they have a clause where they basically say, and we can revoke this at any time for no reason with 30 days notice, which I have a feeling if they actually did that to someone who had a huge stake in relying on that arrangement, they could probably end up eating some legal ass. Just because you put something in a contract says, oh, by the way, provision 17 says I can fuck you. I can fuck you whether you want me to or not. It's like, well, no, you can't, because that's not that's something you're allowed to, basically just be like, I'm gonna kill you now. It's like, nope. Just because it's in the contract doesn't mean you can do it. There could still be someone saying that's not reasonable. Now, what I do think they could do to monetize is if they are moving to more online source resources, there's a lot of potential there. So when I first heard that the reasoning was that they wanted that Dungeons and Dragons as a franchise was under monetized, I was like, they have the ability to make some pretty incredible products. Like, Brad, and Nick, think about playing Fantasy Grounds and how sort of it's very powerful, but it's a very clunky experience. And Wizards of the Coast has already shown off what looked like could be some really sweet, like, virtual tabletop for D&D. And that's the sort of thing that if they develop it right and they do it, because I get the impression like Fantasy Grounds, it's a pretty powerful, and I found it super helpful, but it does seem like it was made by a bunch of people that kind of didn't know what they were doing and just kept snowballing it and making it do more things. But it's all, in some ways, it's kind of a mess to work with, and it's unintuitive and everything else. And I think that with the major resources of like Hasbro, if they wanted to put their weight into it, they could make something that could work a lot better. And that it would be, also, all these services, like Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds, they monetize the hell out of it. You're gonna, I've spent quite a bit of money on Fantasy Grounds to be able to just basically own, like, I don't have to pay a monthly thing. It's just, well, I have to license, but it's mine effectively it's mine. Original states it exists in perpetuity, and a third party are free to ignore any modification. Oh, that's interesting. I'm assuming, and by the way, hi Matsus. My knowledge of contract law is a little bit like, like if you promise to give something away and then you stop giving it away, then if there was no consideration, which means there was no agreement between parties that like, well, they're giving you this so that you're doing that. It's not a contract. So I don't know. I'm not sure who has standing to enforce that, I guess is the thing. Because one person promising something to someone else, and then if they break their promise, and it wasn't for like, well, I'll give you this and you pay me $5,000, and then you get the $5,000 and they're like, oh yeah, I decided not to do that thing, then you could sue them, right? Because you have created a contract, a binding contract that is legally enforceable. Well, the thing is, if Wikipedia suddenly paywalled, they would lose 97% of the people that go to Wikipedia. So, the thing about D&D is, the people we're paying them already. They're just trying to find ways to make partners out of people using their license. And I think honestly, it's extraordinarily generous that they have let people do that as long. Let third party just use their stuff. I've always been surprised by that. And I've always thought it's incredibly cool that they did that. And in some ways, I think it's really worked for their benefit because the third-party stuff that they've done have drawn a lot of... Critical Role has drawn so many people into D&D. Critical Role is part of what has put D&D into the mainstream in the last few years. And other, other groups that have arisen like that, other entertainment companies. So, yeah, it's all free advertising for them. But there's, I don't know. I can see both sides of it a little bit. The real question is like, for Wizards of the Coast is this unfair to the point where people are going to bail on them? Or it's like, $750,000. The first $750,000 is free. Might seem like, hey, for most people that want to try this out, they're like, they don't have an expectation that they're going to be making that kind of money. But until they are, and then it's like all of a sudden there's this huge 25% that kicks in on dollars earned after 750. But I don't know. You missed D20 Modern? You have a campaign of that. Oh, all right. Implement third-party stuff into D&D Beyond. Well, that's sort of like what, other things like Fantasy Grounds does that. They have all sorts of third-party crap. It's in some ways like a marketplace. And yeah, I think that, and it would actually, I think, be in their benefit to do something like that. If they're trying to do an online platform and they make third-party content available on there, that would help that platform to explode. So, but if they were going to do that, though, I would fully expect they would take a cut of it. So, if they're selling it through their platform, if it's being sold through their platform. Put me on the blockchain. OGL built a community and brought focus to D&D after 480 and it was hot with Critical Role, Stranger Things. Yeah. No, I agree, Nick. Yeah, Matthews, I actually just saw that before I started streaming. I saw a headline earlier that she was in the hospital. She had a heart attack. Like a few hours ago, I saw that. And then now, that's really sad. It's really sad. Oh no, I'm looking at all of the stuff that I missed. There've been a lot of comments. Brad, I'm sorry. I'm just opening the old wounds. You could still open Fantasy Grounds, Brad, if you felt like it. I'm sorry, Brad. Maybe someday I'll get something going again. Maybe someday. I honestly felt it was, for me, was getting a little bit too much to be running 2 campaigns. The thing is when I was only running 1 campaign, I wanted more D&D. But then when I was running 2 campaigns, and also running the campaign online, if I ever did it again online, I think I would just focus on just playing the game. And I don't know, I felt like it was, for me, it was a ton of work to do the things that I did to make it work the way that I wanted it to for the stream. Because if I'm going to do it on a stream, I want a certain level of presentation. Like having the characters' faces light up when each of you spoke and that sort of thing. And like, that stuff was all very, to me, time consuming to learn how to do and to make it work. And those are the type of things where it's like, I don't know if I'd want to do all that again. And Jeff Beck, yeah, I saw that as well. They own DM's Guild. I didn't know they owned DM's Guild. I mean, granted, you're talking to a guy that is only stuck with official Wizards of the Coast materials. I haven't... Well, I bought some third-party, like, guides, specifically because Princess of the Apocalypse is kind of a nightmare to figure out how to run it or not run it. And so I bought a couple of guides that have, like, lists of all the NPCs who are parts of each different group. Lists of, like, it organizes all this information and then gives you... And I got those for, like, you know, $1.50 or $2 from... I think it was from DM's Guild. I have to do it on a stream so you could have evidence of how... on the flip side, I did like doing it on stream because I think it's cool that there's a record of it that we can go back and see. I kind of wish that the group that I've been playing with from my high school group, I kind of almost wish that they would have been into the idea of doing that. Because I let them know when I was setting all that stuff up, like, hey, I'm putting something together that if you guys want to record these sessions just for privately, and I wasn't talking about live streaming it to an audience. It's like just privately, we could have an archive of all of our game sessions on like a private channel or something. Those barely healed wounds. I'm sorry, Brad. I keep doing it, don't I? Let's see. Most of your D&D games use third-party content now. You haven't liked much of the newer official stuff. Well, but Nick, I could totally understand that for you because you play a metric ton of Dungeons and Dragons. I play Dungeons and Dragons once every 4 to 6 weeks for a few hours. So it's like, and that's sort of like, I don't have bandwidth for a lot more without cutting into the other stuff that I do to unwind. Just, whatever. And cutting into like my family time and wife time and all that. That's true, but it's an expression. I don't even know why I thought. I just remember people would say, for emphasis, a metric ton. And that was like, oh, that means it's really a lot. But when you play as much as you do, Nick, you also, you burn through a lot of content, and you get, especially when it comes to character options and that sort of thing. Like, I can tell you really like exploring. You really like the idea of exploring new things and keeping the game fresh. And for me, it's all fresh. In fact, to me, there's more available than I am ever going to get to. You got over COVID from Thanksgiving, but you got something else? I got well, I don't know for sure, but I think I did. RSV, that's respiratory, whatever. I think that's what I had over the holidays, and I'm still coughing and getting over it a little bit. Yeah, TTRPGs are your main hobby. Well, and you play like, are you still? Have you gotten back to your normal thing? Because I know before the pandemic, you were playing multiple. You were involved in multiple games a week. So, oh, Matthias, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you're not feeling well. I hope you get better. I know what I got, too. It had me out of commission for a week. Like, I missed a week of work. I was coughing. It sounded awful. I was tired. I slept 16 hours a day. And I was just in a brain fog. And it was awful. So, feel better, Matthias, if you're still here. I really hope you recover. And, yeah, recover soon. And get through it. Because that's no fun. I know from being sick a few weeks ago, it's like, that's no good. Although, it did give me an excuse to lay around a whole lot and not work. So, I didn't mind that, but it was irritating that I had too much of a brain fog to enjoy doing anything. I was like, hey, I can't even... if you're going to be sick enough to not work, but then play games, that's kind of like the golden little window there. Play some games, or at least enjoy some TV shows. I guess I was still sort of watching TV shows, but... 3 games only 3 games a week at the moment. Yeah, no, I could definitely see how you would definitely, playing that much, you would need to tap into third-party content to keep it fresh. I'm still at this point, like, I'm running my campaign, and I'm discovering during the game what characters are capable of. Like, what their spells actually do, how powerful they actually are, and it's all a discovery. It's like, hey, they're like, my character can do this. And I'll be like, oh, yeah? And then I'll look it up and be like, holy crap. All right, yeah, do it. And then someone else will be like, my character can do this. And I'll go, oh, yeah, let me take a look at that. And I'll look at it and I'll be like, no, you're full of shit. That's not what it says in there, but I thought that's what it meant. No, it's not what it meant. Use your brain. I never say it like that. That's more like the way I am with people at work. Oh, you thought that's what the procedure said? Listen up, numbnuts. So I like to call everyone at work numbnuts. No, actually, no. I'm joking. I never do. You were doing 5 tabletop RPGs a week with pre-pandemic. Yeah, I would definitely not have the bandwidth for that. So, because socialization, like, I love playing D&D, man, but after 5 hours, I'm exhausted. And, like, I want to be quiet. Like, the next day, I just want to be quiet. Yeah, I don't have that much, I don't have that much energy to be doing something like that. Of course, playing is different than DMing. I haven't played a game in a long time. So it'd probably be less... If you're playing... How many of those games are you DMing? Your Paladin Rogue is a little beefy. Level 10, her lowest save is +7, her highest +13. That seems impressive. Oh, just checking here. Oh my god, we're over an hour on the welcome screen. And this is like the golden age of G-Log coming and back to you, straight over the internet. All right. I'm going to do a quick sweep of all the comments that I've missed. Or not missed. This D&D, this OGL thing, really lit a fire in the conversation. All right, I think I mostly have seen everything. There's obviously there's probably a comment or two I overlooked, but I think I got into it. I think I've kept up with most of it. Your game is gonna have hours of intro music. All right.
45 seconds of gameplay.
It's time. There's the G-Law mobile. I don't even exactly remember what I think I was just, my objective was just to clear out the old, do a little road clearing. Yeah, this is Rosewood. Let me see. I'll show you where I'm at. This is actually, I don't think I've played it since stream last week. I was supposed to go eat my own poop. Oh, is that what I was doing? Yeah, near the fire department. So I'm down here. Yeah, I'm right next to I'm here on this road here. So Maxie, I'm like just down, like literally right next to the fire department. And my objective is to thin the herds along this road right here. It gets a little easier on the wide highway to get around them. And my ultimate objective is I want to get a foothold in wait, why is the road, didn't the road go all the way through here? I don't remember that. I thought the road went all right, I'm gonna have to see what happens when I get over there. Because I'm like, was there an update where they fucked up the road over there? I wanted to get a foothold in here so I could check out if there's any crap in the library that I didn't have, or whatever else. Look for new cool cars. I think I've started in a few places. I think Riverside, Riverville, whatever it is. There's one by the water. That maybe has been my favorite so far. But I mean, you can see that's up here. I've only been, you can see that by the white outline, these are the only places I've ever been. This is my one trip into town. Zombies kept massing behind me. So I kept driving forward, and I basically like saw like, oh, I want to look at this stuff. Sorry, can't stop. And I basically drove I did a little tour in town, came back up, and then drove the fuck out. Like I never stopped and got out of the car in town. There were always too many zombies. So then I was like, I'm gonna have to come back and find a relatively clear spot on an approach to town and just start taking the fuckers out. And maybe claim a house on the very corner or something. Or maybe, I forget what these are. Maybe claim an outpost here. Someplace that I can start launching clearing expeditions, because there were just way too many zombies for me to even like stop and get out of my car. It was, yeah, it's not working out for me. Are you talking about in here? Or there? I always wait. It's like, what is south? Is it south this way or that way? I actually did find cabbage seeds because I went through these farm areas and I didn't find it in the farm. I found it on one of the zombies that was around the farm. He had cabbage seeds directly south. Right? Are you talking about here? This is actually a lumberjack yard. This is like a lumber yard. It was huge piles of lumber and then like 3 trailers. There were 2 house trailers and like a business trailer. I did actually go through it already and did not find any seeds. I think I took their propane tank though from their they had a barbecue back there. But this I went through. Now this actually, I know there's some more farms down here, and I got as far as here. And then I saw a huge horde of zombies sitting around here. And it was actually already late at night. So I snuck into the house, went upstairs, slept until morning, snuck back out, got in the car, and the horde saw me as I was going back to the car. So they started coming at me. And I was just like, I'm getting the flip out of here. But yeah, I was deterred by the large horde that was there. Enough to be like, well, I don't think I want to deal with that right now. Save it for a rainy day. I did not try to exploit the lumber. They have huge lumber piles. The main reason I'm not that interested in it is I'm finding lumber to be, especially now that trees are growing everywhere. I'm finding lumber to be a resource that I'm not that concerned about. Like all the regrowth of trees just along the sides of the street in my little neighborhood here are, and then also I mean, all you got to do is drive to the end of this little road here, and there's so much, there's like just this little circle right here is probably more wood than I could ever use in the whole game. So I'm not that concerned about finding sources of lumber. It has been easy. It's easier to disassemble things for planks than it is to chop down trees. So that's why I've been relying more on that, just going through a lot of these first floor businesses and dismantling all their wood and stuff, going through the houses one by one, dismantling all the doors and furniture. Your house is down the road you're facing in the woods. Are you talking about, I think that bearing is a little, unless you mean up here. I think it's a little hard to get the frame of reference for what you mean. Left-hand turn from where? Like where my guy is driving right now? No, that's up here. Down the road from my vehicle. And now, granted, my vehicle is going this way right now. And do you mean this left-hand turn? If I turn down, because turning left from where I am now is taking me back into town, from the direction I'm going. Unless you're talking about here, going this way, and you come to the T and you a left-hand turn. I don't even know what's over there. Is that what you mean up here? Let's see. All right, I'm gonna get back into it. All right. So my car is facing this way. Left is that way. Unless you mean left from my perspective, looking at the screen. You mean here? I was thinking left from the perspective of Lawrence Hawk. Oh, up here? No, the direction my car is facing. My car's here. It's facing this direction. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's frustrating you're trying to convey something too, and I'm not getting it. But that's what happened. It's the dangers of online written text communications. All right, close the map. Oh, look at this. Look at this little buddy. He's lonely. Danger is my middle name. Middle is my danger name. Come on out of the road, buddy. One of my objectives is to keep the road clear of zombie corpses. I do not, to my knowledge, have heat in my home for the winter. So far, I've got lots of, I think I've got layers of clothing that I can wear. I'm hoping that'll be enough. Alright. But that's one thing that I want to keep an eye out for. And that is another generator. And if worse comes to worse, I can take the generator that I've got at the gas station and bring it back to my house, because I'm pretty sure with a generator I can have heat. It's so convenient having that generator there at the gas station to just be able to refuel whenever I want. All right, Station 82. Have a good night. Oh, you're asking, do you have to heat your home in the winter? At least the trailer makes it sound like you have to. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I've played through a winter before, and as long as I wore warm clothing, I don't remember if there were like super storms or anything, but I don't remember. Whoa, hello. All right. Time to get the fuck out of my car. I do not remember the cold being a super serious issue. Because I'm pretty sure I'm almost positive in past years I played games. All right, come on, Ranger. Come on over here, buddy. It's kind of a cool, like, cowboy, like, Ranger's hat. All right, where'd all these people come from? Maybe maybe it's migration. Painfully real. It's an interesting comment. Oh, I'm fucking hungry as shit. All right, now I'll be good. Yeah, come on. Yeah, ninnies. Come and get me. Yeah, that's the reason I like the crowbars. Crowbar lasts a long effing time. Baseball bats are effective, though. But you're right, they don't last very long. So I've been keeping my eye out for crowbars, and I've amassed a collection of them. Dude, stop. Haunted by a scene in Home Alone, we get hit by the crowbar. But if you had some sort of a real-life traumatic experience with crowbars, sounds like you're really traumatized by it, James. All right. Come on, somebody notice me. Fire axe is good too, but you save them for lumber. Yeah, that's where I realized I actually did find another fire axe, or maybe two. And as a guy that I'm a lumberjack by trade, you know, I've got perks of got some pretty badass perks when it comes to using an axe. All right, come on. What do you got, buddy? Okay. Yeah, the veteran, because he doesn't panic. I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure how much panicking has been a problem for me. This guy has tended to have his emotions pretty well regulated. Although he's been terrified. I won't lie. Come on. Somebody notice me. One of you notice me. Maybe two. And then, yeah, there you go, buddy. That's how we play this game. Bitch Tactics 101. Divide and conquer. Knives in this game feel like you gotta be so up close and personal. I like something that keeps a little distance between me and them. I think boredom's a real issue, though. And think about if they, all of a sudden you didn't have TV or internet or any of that. I guess you still have books, but... And you're all by yourself? I feel like there's a certain degree of realism in that. At least insofar as, like, the mechanic, it's not like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm like, yeah, I can see it. Are you having that issue right now, Brad? Digital watch. All right, it's getting dark. I think it's time to go home. That's who you played. Not a good tactic. You died early on. Well, it's probably one of those things. Where did this fucker come from? Where were you a minute ago? That's scary. I was backing people right into this guy's direction. Maybe he came from the lumber yard. Dismantle. A Zomboid steals my ride. No one's taking my sweet SUV. I guess maybe there's some people in the woods too. All right. You can come for me, but you gotta come for me off the road, right? Even the Zomboids gotta do their part to keep the road clear. I would say, well, how do you know I'm gonna die? Says Lawrence Hawk the Sixth. All right. Right, you sons of bitches. They're still playing the horror music, which makes me think maybe there are more zombies I'm just not noticing. Make some zombie scarecrows? There actually are some scarecrows, but I don't think they do anything. I think they're static assets that you can't make. It's so dark in here. So dark. It's still playing that horror psycho music in the background. Like, maybe there's one in the back seat. I just didn't notice. All right, you Nimrods. Here, remember, stay off the road. We gotta keep your messy corpses over here. I don't want you ruining my suspension when I'm driving in and out of town with your bones. I don't know why I'm suddenly talking like Toll House Willie. Yeah, the driving in circles honking the car horn seems like a dubious strategy. The real-life pipecock. Now that would be the ultimate flair. If you mastered the art of slaying zombies while holding the crowbar to simulate a giant willy. I've seen videos where it looks like shotguns can be kind of useful if you get good at them. But the general word that seems to me is that I've seen that has stuck with me is they're noisy and they're probably going to cause your situation to get worse rather than better in most instances. But I could be wrong. I haven't experimented with guns that much. I went out with a shotgun once. It might have even been during stream last year, when I was playing last year. And it did not go well. I almost died. I have yet to determine whether this is actually going to keep zombies out of the neighborhood, or if while I'm gone, they could randomly quote migrate through the fences that I've built. Yeah, I believe they can. I don't know if they go for the I don't know if they go for the walls, but they almost definitely would go for the gates. I mean, I'm sure it would be like in houses where I've never seen a zombie try to take out the wall of a house, but they'll take out every door. However you get in and out, I think that's what they'll try to take out. That's my guess. Maybe if it's a constructed thing, they go after the walls too. I don't know. I hadn't seen it happen. The first house on the left as you go to? The abandoned one-story tiny house? Anyways. You make some interesting strategic choices, James. Alright. Back from another day at the office. How's my crowbar doing? Yeah, it's at about 60%. Turn on the old lights. It looks exactly like where a lawyer would reside. Well, like I said, the detached garage I'm not a huge fan of. Did I pick anything up except for these electronics from dismantling? I probably don't need this extra bowl with me. Wrench, saw, fishing. I don't need... Oh, they're all like small amounts of soap. Okay. Beef jerky I don't need with me. Canned potatoes. I do not need with me. Ooh, strawberries. I should just flip and eat the hell out of them. They go bad. And I think I figured out that making strawberry salad is probably just not worth it. Strawberries already inherently make him happy to eat. And I found that chopping up a whole bunch of them, it actually starts becoming unhappy. I think there's a mechanic if you put too much of one ingredient into a salad or a casserole or a stew, it starts making them sad. That's my guess. Oh yeah, well it's gated now. But those high walls were always there. Oh, the shotgun? Oh, I do have a bunch of shit. Alright, let's put that knife back in there. It's my ammo dump here. Oh, that's kind of pretty. Put away the map. I don't know why I have all these maps. Why do I have these maps? I'm almost sure I've read these before. Alright, well, fuck it. I'm just going to put them in there anyways. This room looks a lot like those lobbies in car shops. Maybe? If you say so. Oh, I guess I had enough strawberries so that I'm not starving anymore. Alright, time to turn off the old light. Hit the hay. Gotta hit that hay. You know what? Something weird happened last week, and I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe it was that epic dark rage, the dark rage, I was gonna say, dark Jake raid I got. But, after my stream, over the next 2 days, that video got 300 views. Which, I mean, that's not in YouTube scale, not a huge thing, but for me, for my channel, very unusual. What the hell caused all of a sudden, like, hundreds of people to look at my video? Doesn't bother me, but I just was like, something triggered it to start, like, advertising itself to people. Every auto shop lobby is just chairs, dirt, and a water dispenser. Dirt. Was there a Steam sale this week? I guess I don't pay a ton of attention to that because I have it, but interesting. I wonder if that's it. Oh, you guys starting to wig. Time for a cigarette. people are playing because of the sale. Okay, okay. So you're saying that Project Zomboid... Well, the thing is I played it for 3 weeks and the other two didn't have the surge, so... but maybe it's snowballed into, like, a perfect storm type of situation. Alright, time to pick more strawberries. I swear it looks like there's strawberries there. Harvest. Let me see what the status is on some of these that look like they got strawberries. They're just seedlings. Okay. I did not know that the barbecue was safe to use indoors. I just assumed it wasn't. I know if you do stuff like run the generator inside, you'll die. I'd assumed that the barbecue's the same way. I may independently verify that. Have you been doing it? Harvest. Ooh, my farming went up. It's somehow safe. I'm a little worried about that. Use inside all the time. Huh. Alright. Just an erotic part of me is a little worried about that. Like maybe you haven't had it on long enough to be a problem. I don't know. There's, like I said, there's a part of me that's a little concerned about that. Relying on that as a, as like a 100% never gonna hurt you truth. I don't think I've ever even used a campfire. Just realized I've got a bunch of strawberry seeds. So let's consolidate the strawberry seeds. And let's get that trowel out of there. And let's make some strawberry. Let's see. Well, first I've got these two. Gotta sow those strawberry plants. Strawberry plants. And then just to keep things neat, I'm gonna do a nice extra little row. But certain things are like that. Like you'd think they'd be a problem, and it's just like, for whatever reason at this point in the... It's one of those things that eventually could be a problem, because it doesn't make sense that it would not be a problem. From a realism perspective. Alright, let's... I don't think I got enough seeds. Nope. In case... Oh, that's a good point. It hasn't been a problem yet. So to cat each and every single one in like all a block from each other, like keep this entire row clear and then go one blank, one blank, one blank. And then over here, one blank, one blank. So there's literally none of them are adjacent to another one. Like a checkerboard. Oh, like a checkerboard. So, like, they don't catch diseases diagonally from each other? Interesting. It's the rook of plant diseases. Alright. Put the old strawberries away. The strawberry seeds. Time to mac down on some strawberries. Kind of like, after the clean dishes, that, make sense. It really bothers me that I can't wash the dishes out of the sink. My sink's been full of dirty dishes since I moved in here. At the very least, I'd like to take them out to my garbage crate. Alright, you know what? I like carrying these strawberries around with me. Am I still underweight? Why do I have 2 bottles of water? Oh, usually I keep a second. No. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna refill. Oh, close the door. I haven't seen a zombie. Oh wait, put do I have the damn. I still have that damn trowel. Okay. I know the chances of there being a zombie in my yard at this point are pretty slim, but I still am paranoid to ever walk in my house and just leave the door open, because it's the sort of thing I'd be likely to forget, and then I could be I am not at all on guard when I'm walking around inside my house right now. If there suddenly were a zombie there, I'd probably shit myself. Alright. Let us fill... Oh, there we go. Water bottle. And have us a little drink. And let's put one of these extra water bottles in the old fridge, even though we don't use the fridge, but that's where I keep water bottles. Yeah, these dishes down here, help me. Wash the damn dishes. Now I've even thought about it. Are there houses that have clean sinks? Because maybe that should be one of my objectives. Wait, what was this bag in here? Just an extra bag I had laying around. Okay. I think I keep it there for when I'm gonna have like a hauling day. Oh, I'm in the wrong seat. I'm like, what are you doing? Is it clearly an auto? Yeah, all the signs are there, aren't they, James? Now that you mention it, all the cars, all these vehicles around. And I did do extensive repairs on all of them. Yeah, so far, I've seen 0 zombies in this neighborhood since I put up these extra walls, though. Be curious if I ended up in another town for a few weeks and then came back in here. You're talking about this house right here, James? I don't know why this would be an appealing house. Oh, this one. Okay, no, that's fine. I might have settled into that house if it weren't constantly getting swarmed by zombies. And it's got all its windows and shit busted in before I could put boards up. Yeah, that house, I camped out there for a day or two. But that house took a lot of abuse from the zombies. And the house that I settled in now had pretty light zombie attention, even when there was zombies in the neighborhood still. So that's why I went with it. But that house is perfectly fine, too. Oh, you just like the layout. Okay, I got you. Damn it! Alright, there's too many doors on this thing. We're sitting in the back seat going like, holding my hands in front of me like I'm pretending to drive, going, let's go! Beep, beep. You love having guests in the reading room? What kind of... Oh, wait, are you playing multiplayer? Is that any zombies coming into your reading room? But yeah, that little extra reading room is kind of cool. Oh, hey, buddy. 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 Here, you know the drill. Off the road, buddy. Off the road. We gotta keep our city looking good, pal. And off we go. You can plumb your water tank into your house to not have to worry about sterilizing it. That, I believe you've said, I think you mentioned that before, and I heard about that. And by water tank, you mean those rain collectors? If you put them over, if you place them on a roof over your sink, that they cause the sink to populate with fresh water? Was that the thing? Oh, where are these guys? Alright, you effers. Now, I'm not going to wait for you to walk all the way around the fence. So make sure there's not a bunch of zombies in here. Aside from these zombies. Oh, I guess they're committed. Okay, they figured it out. So make sure there's not a whole bunch of other ones over here. There we go, little AoE attack. I think there's another one coming. But I'm getting a little peckish, so I'm gonna have strawberries. Where are they at? I forgot to put away that beef jerky. How did he die? Oh, he got very distracted eating strawberries, and then a zombie ate him. Whoops. That's an embarrassing thing to have on your tombstone. You know what? I'm just gonna eat. I got strawberries aplenty right now. I'm gonna eat till I get a little buff. Which is a way to increase your carry weight by fitness. Yeah, your default carry weight. I actually had not confirmed that. I've never looked that up. It never goes up with your, like, if you're doing strenuous things. Out of shape. Son of a bitch. Still underweight. Okay. I don't like that. I'd rather be just normal weight. Although being underweight makes you run faster or something, right? Alright, this guy's finally is like, I've been coming for you. He was over here. And he's like, you just stay where you are, young man. Alright. Oh, there's more of them over here. I might as well. I was going to jump back to my car, but... Said the internet. No, I thought I read, like, in the wiki, there was some advantage. There's some advantage to being overweight. You go slower and you get out of shape faster, but, like, you're more stout and you have more resistance to something. I don't know. And then being underweight makes you, like, you're more fragile, or I don't know. I forget now. All right. Oh, you too, huh? Oh, fuck! Attacking from that angle is, like, really... Oh, crap. There's a whole bunch of them. Alright, you guys, back off. Back the fuck off. Sorry, neighbors. Someone's probably calling the police right now. They're like, I think my neighbor's being assaulted. Like, no, officer, I was just playing Project Zomboid. It's a zombie survival RPG. Man, more firefighter pants, though. I wouldn't mind collecting some extra firefighter pants. I don't think I'm having trouble with the helmet. I don't think the helmet ever goes bad. Oh, my pauldrons are broke. Did that make you feel any better, Brad, if you're still there? The armor I make for myself falls apart pretty easily. I didn't get bit, did I? No, okay. So yeah, if it's any consolation. Yeah, it looks like I don't think my helmet ever wears out. But your clothing sure does. Alright. What's all this then? Nice truck. This truck? Pretty good. All right. Oh, you missed the party with all your friends? One of your a-hole friends destroyed my shoulder pauldrons. All right. You wear your shoes out faster. The reason that is that, and that's actually pretty effective to do things without weapons. The reason that I have focused, especially since I now have a backlog of crowbars, the reason that I focus on doing it this way is I don't know that you get any skill gains from killing them with your feet. But I believe you're getting constant skill gains by hitting them with a two-handed blunt weapon. So I prefer, if shortage of weapons is not a concern, I prefer to all of my strikes to be improving my fighting abilities. God, there are so many flipping zombies here. Well, I guess I'm clearing this neighborhood out again. Although I think there were a ton of them just out of view. But it's dismaying to see so many. But honestly, in this game, as long as you're only taking, like, I think it would be hard to well, like the tactic of shoving them till they fall and then stomping them. If you're only ever going after one zombie at a time, you could do the whole game that way. But you really need to be able to... Oh, shit. Well, I guess you can make them fall down together. And then stomp... Can you stomp their heads together? Is there? So that's an example of something that, if that's true, that you know something that I don't know. Which is super, super possible, because I am not a reservoir of knowledge for this game. There's still a ton about this game that I don't know, and I haven't, you know, I haven't done a lot of systematic research to find out. I sort of research things as I need to know them, and watch about a bunch of tips and tricks videos. But if I systematically just went to the wiki and just read it, like, oh no, I'm not going to just go to the links for a specific topic I'm interested in. I'm just going to read the whole thing. I could pretty much guarantee you that I probably only know about, you know, 25% of the game's mechanics. Look in the weapon skills section. Hold on. Where's the other guy? Are you coming? No, looks like he's not coming. Look in the weapon skills section. I had one thing there, increase stomping heads and pushing zombies. Oh, shit. All right, pausing the old game. Oh, I was like, don't they have hover to tell you what stuff is? I guess not. Maybe maintenance? I get maintenance skills sometimes for killing stuff with my, with the crowbar. Look at that long blunt. Almost 4 there. What the hell does maintenance do? I don't even know what the hell that means. I just know, I mean, I'm obviously getting skill in it. But I assumed that meant like repairing your weapons, but I haven't repaired shit. So I'm not sure what maintenance means. Yeah, I know. It's a weird word to choose to represent smashing stuff with your feet. Oh, maybe it makes you better at smashing stuff with your feet. All right. Once you... There you go. Oh, you didn't let me get to you soon enough to hit you while you were still on the ground, did you? Premium technologies walkie-talkie. Wait, I just wanted to dismantle. There we go, dismantle. Is it car maintenance though? Hold on. It's just weird that that would be under combat. And there's also already mechanics and metalworking that relate, and electrical that all relate to different things you do on the cars. So no, my first assumption is that it probably doesn't have to do with car maintenance. Yeah, depending on what you're doing with the cars, you need mechanics and metalworking are kind of the two things that pop up on cars. I think mechanics is the primary one for repairing cars. Watch price is right on our CRT. Yeah. That's one thing. I think I was looking at Project Zomboid comments and somebody, or watching a video about it, someone, I think it was just a comment I saw, and it was like, this game has been out for like 12 years and you still can't sit in a chair. What the F, devs? It's like, yeah, that's an example of thing. And there is actually, I think, a mod where you can sit in chairs, but you can only sit in chairs from like a certain angle. Like the angle where the chair is facing towards the screen. But that would be kind of cool if you could sit in chairs and like customize television content. I mean, I don't know that I'd find that a heavily utilized thing, but there's all sorts of things that are like that. Like I have a mod that adds a bunch of real world books into the, like, just the regular literature. So there's all sorts of books, it's Dragonlance, Stephen King, and all sorts of crap that's in there. It's just not in the base game. And it doesn't change the gameplay at all. But it's just like, someone will be like, oh, I used to love that book. Oh, Stephen King collection, hell yeah, I'm bringing that home. Reduction in durability loss when using weapons. Okay, all right. So kicking people with your feet keeps you from making your crowbar die. But well, never mind. That's weird reasoning. I'll just say it is what it is, and thanks for clarifying that. All right, hey, that guy's got a nice bag. I don't know why I keep collecting these bags, but he's got a good one. Duffels, 18 slaughters. Oh crap, that radio had a ton of shit. Here, we'll put the, I think the pauldron, when it's done, but I'll hold on to it just to make sure that I can't repair it later. Aluminum. All right. You keep duffel bags in your trunks. That's a good idea. In case you're ever like in a haul-in situation where you wear one in your back and carry one in each hand to ferry stuff to and from your vehicle. That's actually not a bad idea. I should do that. I grabbed his duffel. Yep. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm doing now, well, cars were not in the game for the first many years that I owned this game. I think that, like I said, I first bought this game. It came out on Steam in 2013, and I thought, oh, that's when I must have got it. But then I actually was curious, and I looked at my history, and it was a key activation, and then I remembered that I bought it from the devs I heard about it on YouTube and bought it from the devs before it was ever on Steam. I think you buy it from their website. And then when they released on Steam, they would give you a free Steam key so that you could activate it on stream if you bought it from them previously. Which I think is super cool that they would do that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of reason not to. They don't lose anything except for the manpower or time that goes into actually setting up or distributing those keys to people. But still, so I don't remember exactly when I got this game, but cars were not around when I first started playing this. Carry 1 or 2 duffels in your hand in your safer areas and dump it in the trunk. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm really not getting very far from town, am I? Come on, buddy. You know how it works. Here, just make sure I got your attention. Bam. All right, now come over here off the road. We'll finish it. Sometimes I get obsessed by my car noises and go to my car first. No. I'm here. Pay attention to me, not my car. Back in 1906 when cars weren't around. And I remember thinking when they were talking about putting, well, you know, the thing is the whole game engine has changed since I started playing. And there's actually, I don't think there was even 3D modeling before for the characters. It's more like the old school Sims, like the original Sims game. And when they first said they were going to put moving cars into it, I was like, that's going to look terrible. And then when they actually released the whole, like, actual 3D models and when I saw the cars work, I was like, oh crap, that turns out that kind of works. All right, you guys. I'm making a real hobby out of clearing people along the same stretch of road. I'm hoping it all pays off. Needs to be bulldozers near construction sites. Oh, that'd be cool. Like some sort of like a super durable. Like what I like is a fire truck, a full-on semi. That would be good. Could carry like 500 storage. Alright, down with you, buddy. Alright. I hear something else coming. Primary, no. Dismantle. And I just realized my guy's wigging out a little bit. Smoke. He's stealth smoking. Just creeping around with his cigarette. Yeah, I haven't looked at the mod community for a long time. I think I just got the armor mod and a few others based on videos I saw people that had looked through a lot of mods and had recommendations. But wondering, like, I'm sure there's like armored cars and all. There's probably all sorts of. I think there are all sorts of extra vehicles. I might actually have a mod that added extra vehicles, but you could see like modified reinforced buses made to be like in the movies always have buses where the front has got like blades sticking out to kill the zombies. Gotta watch my weight. All right. Stealth eating strawberries. I'm surprised my stealth stat isn't maxed. I practice stealth while doing all sorts of things. Hey, Jeff. It's okay, Jeff. You can lurk. But thanks for letting me know you're here. I love lurking. I don't visit a lot of streams anymore. I may still pop in once in a while, but recently I haven't barely watched any. Like even Dark Drake, I don't think I've been in his streams this year yet. Well, mostly I stealth because I want the stealth stat to go up. Didn't I? I thought I saw him. Okay, there he was. And it does go up eventually. But I would really like to see if it becomes super useful at a certain point. Okay, didn't quite pull that off. There, that worked. Double. I forget, is there a setting that you can make it so you can't kill two of them at once like that? I want to say there's a toggle for that somewhere. The AoE attacks. I've never, if it's toggleable, if it's a setting, I'm never turning it off. I can barely handle more than a couple at a time anyways. Setting for multiple hits. That's what I thought. I was thinking, I don't know. I don't know if that was on by default or if I turned it on. Alright, this is how I like it. One at a time, folks. Step right up. I hit you in the head and knock you down, and you're dead before the next person shows up. Oh, that was not timed well. Oh, okay. That's good. Shoes. You guys got anything cool? All right, you guys are close enough to the road that I'm going to go ahead and take you out too. But stay off of the dirt road. I'm still going to use it. There's farms I haven't checked out yet. Remote control my car. Yeah. Yeah, sort of. Not, I wouldn't say maximized my TV watching while the stations are still on. But if I'm home, I pay attention to the times that they're on, and I would, you know, I would turn the TV on anytime I was cooking or whatever else. But I never made a point of being like, well, I know that the shows are on at 6 a.m. and noon and 6 p.m. and I'm going to make sure that I'm home at all those times to watch those shows. I've never done it like that, if that's what you mean. But those shows do start pumping up your skills pretty quick. I thought that was just generally the learning channel. There's certain shows on at certain times I didn't pick up that pattern. Alright, I just saw a guy. Yep, there's a couple. Yep, see, they're going for the car first. Carpentry's the one on at noon, okay. I knew there was a noon show. Unless it was like a rainy day or I was, for some reason, like it felt like I needed to recover for a day. I was almost never home at noon. Any other ones? Ah, surprise, bitch. There you go. All right. crap, it's practically like nighttime in here again. I didn't even get... It's like every time I come out here... Alright, car. Every time I come out here, I'm making less progress. Maybe I need to... When there's just a... Well, there were groups, but I was like, maybe if I'm just coming across like one in the road, I just need to learn to ignore him. Hey, buddy. Oh, no, that's not just one. Son of a bitch. Turns out, there's a bunch of these assholes. See, how to get power back in this game to watch TV? I remember you saying power goes out early on. Well, the television stations all die out within like the first week of the game. So at this point, you can turn power on like in limited locations, like I have at the gas station. And by locating generators, you can haul them, put gas in them, and they will just sort of like power everything within a certain radius. But they use fuel. So I could get my television turned back on again by finding a generator and putting it at my house. Or the generator is something if you put inside your house, it will supposedly kill you, the gas. That's right, there's tapes and stuff everywhere that you could still watch. I hadn't thought of that. There are VCR tapes all over the place. Which I tend to forget, but that's actually a good point. If I found another generator, I might pay more attention to tapes. Because there's skill tapes, right? Or is it all just entertainment? I know it seemed like there were some that were some of those Learning Channel shows. Alright, I'm gonna go back home. Actually, I'm gonna go to... Okay, there's somebody. I'm gonna go to the gas station. Gonna go to the gas station and then go home. It's a little hidden horde right off this. Oh, fuck! Alright, there's more zombies. Go down, buddy! Okay, there you go. Okay, I've really, Okay, get off. Alright. Wow. Damn! They just keep coming, don't they? Alright, come here. Don't die next to the other bodies, because I'm tired of seeing all the... Alright, getting a little nervous here. Alright. I guess this might have just been like a wandering little group. I wonder if they're being attracted to this area by the engine of my vehicle. Because vehicles do make noise that draw zombies. The But just not from a super long radius for the most part. You found the video store once, I don't remember that. Oh shit, okay. I probably found the video store at a certain point. Like I said, I don't pay a ton of attention to VHS tapes, which, like I said, maybe I will once I find a generator. But it's never, they've just never been something I paid that much attention to. And I'm not saying that they're not worth paying attention to. There's lots of things in this, like, you know, farming and even cars. Once they implemented cars, I played a ton before I ever even tried to use a car. Because I felt like I was too busy trying to learn how to flip to do everything else. All right, you know what? Here, we're not gonna keep clearing roads. It's 9 o'clock. It's late. Time to just get my ass home. You found the donut shop, but all the donuts were rotten. Oh, yeah, no, I found the donuts. I think I found the donut shop while the donuts were still good, though. Because I did have a donut haul. Well, I had the advantage of settling, like, right by a row of stores, too. Alright. Let's see, do I want... Oh, I'm actually tired. My guy. Yeah, I'll still go to the gas station. I'm just debating. I'm at 3/4 of a tank. But kind of the reason I'd like to stay substantially topped off is because if I ever did break through the net of zombies around this town to where I felt like I'd sort of cleared them out a bit, I might just drive on to the next town and start establishing a foothold. Oh shit, wrong place. Alright, this is getting on my nerves a little bit. Alright, come on. You know the drill. Off the road. This is not optimal fighting in this kind of darkness, though. And I'm tired. It's probably a dumb idea. There are more coming. Yeah, this is a questionable idea. Oh, beta blockers. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna have to take it. Oh shit! Okay. Nope, this is more than I want to deal with. Alright. Where are those beta blockers? I forget what beta blockers help you with. Reduces panic. Oh, there's barely any in there. Oh well, I'm going home anyways. Crap, it's practically time for bed. I thought I was just gonna run to the gas station super quick. And then still have time to, like, eat and stuff. As long as I'm here, I might as well do it. No, can you beat this game? No, there is no win state to this game. I mean, the game opens up saying, you know, this is how the world ends and this is how you die. And the real design philosophy of the game is just to see how long you can go without dying, how long you can live. But as the game has gone forward, you can adjust the parameters. I think the default game keeps, I don't know, eventually you'll die. But the idea is you play until you die and then you start over, sort of the intended game loop. So it really is just sort of like a sandbox, but there's enough little individual goals that you kind of make up for yourself. Like, I'm fixated with the idea of getting a foothold in the next town at this point. At first, I wanted to clear out this town that I'm in, and I did, for the most part. I mean, obviously, I'm still running across zombies here and there, but for the most part, in town proper, there are no hordes anymore. There's some stragglers here and there. It's once you get to the edge of town, like down where the fire station is. Beyond the fire station is just a bunch of forests and fields. And so you still run into zombies that have wandered in from out there, but like in town proper, they're gone, and that's kind of cool. I did that. Man. So you set up little sort of objectives, and it's not like these objectives are real accomplishments that you set up for yourself, but they're not. You don't have a quest to do it. But they become sort of meaningful progressions. Like I said, the reason I have spawning turned off is because I like the idea of like a world progression. That the things that I'm doing are changing the world and making safe, relatively safe spots because of the efforts that I put into it. Oh yeah, I haven't looked in. I really haven't explored the mods too heavily. The modding scene too heavily. I probably should. Well, the only mods that I've got the mod like where I can build sort of Mad Max style metal scrap armor. There are little additions and changes like that, but I know there's also a mod, like one of the big game changers I've heard about is solar panels. Because gas stations will eventually run out of gas here. I don't know if I'll ever play long enough for that to be an issue. But you can find these generators to give yourself power. You have to keep turning them off. Let me say right. You got to keep using them and filling them with gas. And eventually they'll run out. And then the fact that you got to keep refilling them and turning them on and off the whole time is labor intensive as well. So having being able to install a bunch of solar panels so you just have power and it's just there, that's pretty game changing. New locations I didn't know about. What the fuck am I doing? I was gonna have a cigarette. Right. New weapons locations and such. Saw a video with a mod that makes winter super punishing. It's always called, I guess, a -70. What? Sounds like the weather apocalypse. All right, now I'm gonna go back. I wonder what happens if I'm underweight and I keep being hungry all the time. You just stay underweight, or will I eventually like? I'll just die. I'll be like, you're starving. It's like, what? You want the mod to be able to light cigarettes off of stoves? Oh, okay. Opening cans with a screwdriver. Yeah, like certain things. I mean, honestly, if you were really living the apocalypse and you were starving and you had a bunch of cans of food, you'd find a way to open them. I mean, you might take a loss even. Like, I could see the mechanic where you could open a can of food with a damn rock against pavement. But you might only get a third of it because of the way you opened it. because a bunch of it like spills out. But the winter one looks rough. You have to live in the small space of the fire and find places to rummage since you can't farm. I'll have to look into the modding scene a little bit. I think my overall philosophy has been that, damn, it hasn't rained in a while. That's worrying a little bit. I was thinking of watering my new crops. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. And one reason why I haven't explored, like, I'll do that for Skyrim. You know that I'll look for mods to make it more challenging. Is you already seen what the mods that I've gone for have. Now I don't consider it like nerfed. All of it, I feel like being able to make scrap armor. I think that's realistic. But the mods that I've gotten have tended to make life easier. They tended to create conveniences for your character. Was that disease over there? Receding strawberry plant. Stunted. Level parched. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, the lack of rain has been a real problem. All right, so I guess I am gonna here. It's important to mod base Skyrim. It needs community fixes at the very least. Info, are they all starving of water? Thirsty. Yeah, I guess they are. All right. Shit. Water could end up being an issue. Water. Wait, that bucket of water still... It just said no water was left in it. Alright, never mind. I'm gonna grab... God, this is gonna end up being a lot of... Maybe I just grab a few. Budget. Grab all. Okay, that hurts a little bit, but you know, it's worth it. Okay, the first one's fully watered. Thing is, I'm surprised it's winter that it's not raining. $30. I just used all my bottles of water too. Not enough water in inventory. Fill empty buckets. Not injuring myself, am I? No. We'll do 2 at a time. So this is some really AAA gameplay right here. Watch me slowly and thoughtfully water crops. And barrel, fill the buckets. I don't want to fill my water bottles because I'm afraid I might accidentally drink out of them or something. Yeah, but for a long time, I didn't have to worry about the water at all because it was raining every few days. with fireman hat. I need a pumper fire truck to water. Oh my gosh, yeah. That would be cool. Not enough water inventory. But is there some easier way to water? That's something I'm not sure, like, if there's a container, or am I just doing it? This is just the way farming is. Like, if I'm going to farm, I'm going to farm this way. I'm getting down to, like, my last water. I mean, I'm not worried I'm going to die of running out of water. But I'm not going to have the resources to do this kind of shit for very long if it doesn't rain again. Let's see. That. I want to say there's a mod that lets you dig a well. I know there are wells in the game. I don't think you can dig them. That'd be nice. It's like, yeah, I think I saw a video in one of those tips videos, and somebody mentioned there's like a farm. It's kind of out in the nowhere, and it has a well. That's one of the reasons I like Riverwood, or whatever it's called. River whatever it is. Always forget. Is because the whole town is right next to the water. The one problem for me about having an isolated home, like out in the boondocks, it's got a well, is I like making runs into town. And so I kind of like being in or on the outskirts of a town. At least the way I play. I'm gonna say if I played it where the zombie spawns were more of a problem. It has enough water. Then if I played where zombie spawns were more of a problem, then maybe I would want an isolated place. Not enough water in inventory, okay. Fill. Empty buckets now. Well, I've got 3 empty buckets. Okay, it is way out in the middle of nowhere. Wow, my guy's getting real hungry, and he's slightly thirsty now. Just not taking very good care of myself. Alright, that's good. I think we're gonna water the cabbages. And I think we're gonna go in and fertilize some of these things. The cabbages you can actually preserve. The only problem is I only have 1 jar. I suffer from my strawberries and cabbages. Fuck. Filling. Sometimes I lose track of what I'm doing. Shocking, huh? Did I really just fill 3 buckets right now? No, apparently I did not. Fill all. Oh yeah, you can set the power in the now I think what I did, you can set the power to last different ranges. I think what I did actually is I set the water and power to go off randomly. By default, I think it's within 1 month, but it could happen on day 2. It's completely random. And I had it set to go conceivably up to 2 months. But it never does. It always goes out after a couple weeks. So at least that's what happened to me. Unless I actually forgot to adjust that setting on this, on the one that I'm using. Because I had a couple different Survivor versions. Wow, why are you being so weird about it? He's like watering it. All right, this is not water full. That's what happened. Not enough water in inventory. Okay. Fill. Fill. You ever find other survivors? They are planning to add NPCs into the game. I don't know what... I'm assuming they're going to focus on hostile NPCs. But I don't know, and I have not researched into what they have said about what their plans are once they implement NPC. I know they're going to start with animals and simple animals, like grazing animals, and then they're going to probably move into like wolves and shit like that. And then they're going to move eventually on to humans, but I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But at this point, no. That was all a long way of saying, no, there are not. But this is considered alpha at this point. This is still very much, like, there's a lot more development happening on this game. As feature-rich as it is, there's going to be a lot more changes over time. Because they're doing this thing. Don't drop it. I mean, don't. I almost hit the drink button. That would have been a problem. Do I have any more that I'm just like randomly carrying around? I thought that I... Oh, here it is. Place item. What's up with the meta events when you hear screams and gunfire? I think those are just rando things that happen that cause zombie movement. So maybe someday they'll correlate to NPCs existing. I don't know. I think there are features in the game that sometimes are companion features that are meant to accompany things that have not yet been implemented. But I think right now that those noises are literally just there to cause zombies to, I believe they do cause zombies to move. I know for certain the gunshots do. The screams, I'm not as certain. But yeah, that's my thing. So, and also as for finding other survivors, they did implement working multiplayer last year. So in that sense, yes, if you have friends, you can find other survivors by logging in and playing save together. Oh yeah, I'm starving and I'm thirsty. If my real life were a live stream, I'd be screwed. Actually, I'd probably be I'd be in a little better shape because I'd be talking to the chat, forgetting to eat. Let's see. We are filling my empty bottle. Where's my other bottle? Oh, it's already full. All right. Drink. Okay. I was gonna actually harvest some of the strawberries. I'm getting a wee bit hungry now, like. All right, let's eat. Let's eat strawberries. I could plant a couple more strawberry seeds too. It's a vicious cycle. Does one man need this many strawberries? Actually, at the moment, I don't have enough. But I think I've discovered... Last time when I grew my original crop of strawberries, I harvested them all at once. And I ended up with a ton of strawberries. And then 90% of them went bad. Strawberry seeds. I don't think those extra 3 are going to do me any favors. I'm gonna eat all the strawberries that I just harvested. You can grow potatoes. If I found potato seeds, I could grow potatoes. Potatoes are in the game. And I think in the river town, there is actually like a farming store where there was a store that had seeds of all kinds. So, but there was no such store here. And so far, going to random farms has yielded me some seeds, but not enough to have, dealer's choice. I'm gonna have to start cooking again, and without water, that's gonna be a problem because I relied on stews, which require you to fill things with water. I'm gonna hold off on planning more stuff because of the water shortage. Let's see. Let's put this away. Gonna grab a sack. Grab one. Starting to freak out. Have a cigarette. Six water crates, but it's been a while since it's rained. But yeah, it's probably only been like 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe you'd go through that much. Yeah, let's get some compost. I don't believe growing tobacco is a thing. Again, that's something I could be wrong, but I don't think that it is. Oh, there's some things that aren't fertilized at all. Maybe I should do this stuff. And now that I have a lot of fertilizer, I should just fertilize to my heart's content. Sack. Oh, was that all? No, wait, come on. Oh, I really burned through this stuff, didn't I? I thought there was a lot more in there. Fertilize. All the zeros we're going to fertilize and give them a 1. I guess I'm out of fertilizer. Yeah. I mean, all you got to do is put perishables in here. I could go to places and I go through houses and find all the stuff that went rotten in their fridges if I was really motivated to do so. I guess I've got one of these. I wonder if these have a lot of fertilizer in them. This is like actual professional packages of fertilizer I found in random places. Let me see. I think this one definitely needed fertilizer still. You somehow randomly sent that message. That's all right. You're talking to a guy who's been spent the last 10 minutes spreading pretend shit over, whatever, so. We'll put this back in here. How much of that did I use? I used about half right there. So it goes these bags you go through and put too. I was wondering if somehow the professional made fertilizer might last longer or be more efficient. Does not seem to be the case. All right, and much to the disappointment of all, but true to my pledge entering into the stream early on, I was planning to try to wrap up this stream by around 10:30. So I'm gonna, or shortly after 10, because I actually do need to try to get to sleep at a reasonable hour tonight, because I've been not sleeping enough this week to the point where I was having trouble, like alarmingly having trouble focusing at work, like very frequently in the middle of complex stuff and literally forgetting what I was doing. So I even one point I was so concerned about it, I went to my wife and I was like, I think like is something wrong with my brain today? Like I was literally worried like I was having some sort of event because she's like, no, you're turning 50 this year and you haven't been sleeping enough. So, you know, that's why you're blanking in the middle of stuff. Thank God I didn't do it. I've been in meetings half the day talking with people and thank God I didn't have a brain fog moment in the middle of that. But all right, let's guess there's no save button. That's right. Gonna quit the desktop. Big ol' yeah. Burns. Oh no, Max, he's calling me an SOB. Try golly melatonin. It really, you know what? I actually do have melatonin. I've tried not to. I think my wife uses it all the time too, because she's a chronic insomniac. I'm normally not, but I do go through cycles enough to where that I do have it. And the problem that I'll keep running into is I'll try not to use it, and then I'll kind of toss and turn a little bit and sort of be awake, and then just sort of lose track of time because that stuff will keep you kind of drowsy for, well, I don't have that particular golly melatonin, but I have melatonin and I've had different brands and it works. But if I take it too late, then I'll still be drowsy when it's time to get up for work. And then that's another issue. So then I won't take it. Your mom calls you SOB. But yeah, melatonin actually is good. The other thing that helps is stuff like Sudafed, just whatever, like the pink, we have generic pink allergy medicine. Which has a dual function. It's like a lot of the year we're reacting to something in Oregon's air anyways, because there's always forest life. There's always vegetation aplenty to do whatever it's going to do during the various seasons. But I don't use that stuff all the time. But those things also make me drowsy. So it's like having a melatonin and like maybe one allergy pill. CBD gummies and melatonin. That's really I haven't had gummies in a while, but there was a period during which like my wife was, I think when she had them, she would supply me and I would have them that I would use rare. I didn't use them normally, but I'd use rarely. Normally when I needed to sleep. Like we made a lot of use of that the year my dad got sick. Like that was an example of time when it was like sometimes I needed some help turning the old cogs off for the night. But then her brother introduced her to a vape pen that she likes a bunch better. And I'm not interested enough to get a vape pen of it. Like I don't use it enough. But that means that she stopped going places and buying gummies. And that I also do not have enough interest to do that on my own. And there's also a part of me that's still hesitant about getting to, I mean, I'm already, I guess, gonna be in trouble anyways because I've had some. But since it's still illegal on a federal level, I know there are jobs that you can look for where you still have, even though it's legal in states, you would still have to swear. Like I think if you want to work for the state of Oregon, you have to like do the whole thing. Oh, I swear I've never done drugs. Because they're still treating it, because the federal government doesn't consider it legalized, like government jobs will still consider it not okay to do. THC free. Does that make it legal? To be honest, I don't know what that is then. I'm not sure what that is. Melatonin, if you take too much, it'll mess up your normal sleep schedule. Like if you use it too frequently, you mean? Not if you take 2 pills when you should have taken 1. Now my wife swears that it's not a problem. She almost like thinks I'm being a weird paranoid person when I talk about not wanting. My plan is to generally avoid trying to make it a thing that I just have every night as part of my nighttime routine. And it is because I did see somewhere, and I can't remember where, that if you're taking that all the time, it will mess with because your body is like, oh, I don't need to make that anymore because he's just bringing it in his mouth. Your body starts recognizing this pattern where it's like, oh, I don't need to do that anymore. And so it'll mess up your body's own ability to give you the stuff it needs, because melatonin is something your body makes naturally. It's why you feel sleepy when you feel sleepy. It's your body's pumping you with melatonin. And that taking melatonin all the time can mess with your body's ability to regulate that, it like maintain that sort of rhythm that it's supposed to be doing this for you at this particular time. It's totally legal. You buy it, you're backwards ass state. You know what, Maxie? The ones, yeah, I realized at a certain point when I looked into it, and some were even saying you probably shouldn't do more than 3, or made 3 as a recommendation. And then I realized the melatonin that we had a supply of was 10 milligrams. So yet another reason why. I mean, I'm going to use the stuff that I have, and it's worked, but it's probably more than we should be using. And in any event, I generally want to avoid having it as something that I'm going to be using all the time. But sometimes that backfires. Like this week, my not using it when I probably should have has resulted in me just being awake and whatever. I don't know why I'm having trouble sleeping. I'm not like particularly stressed about anything. My job has been a little bit stressful the last week or so because we're re-gearing for the new year. We're doing a whole bunch of changes for how my role is performed. So, and I like when things are stable and the same all the time. So, everything is, and then I'm becoming more and more aware that the stuff I'm doing is being watched very closely by people very high up at our company. And so that's like, no one's upset with what I'm doing, but all of a sudden I'm like, it's coming to my attention through various signs that there's high visibility from people way up the chain of command into what I'm doing, and that they're very concerned that it's being done well. Yeah, I don't even know what Golly is. Is that a brand? It's exactly 5 milligrams. I know in the future I'm going to look for lower milligram doses, because the last time that like I said, I don't use it all the time. So we just had a big bottle of it. And by the time I did realize that, like, oh, this is probably way more milligrams than I need, I probably got about a year's supply in this bottle, considering how infrequently that I use it. Because like I said, normally I don't have an issue with sleep, but it's things like I'll have like a bad night once or twice. Like, honestly, this is by no means any your guys' fault, because I know half the time when I say I gotta go and you guys give me a bunch of shit, that you're just messing with me, and it's like, it's okay if I need to go to sleep. But there have been a lot of Friday mornings that I just stayed up too late. Like when I stream past 11:30, getting towards midnight, like I'm not doing usually well the next day. So that's one of the things that, and again, I'm not like, because there are people here to give me shit like, oh, you're leaving already and all this stuff, and I know you're just playing with me. I mean, I know a lot of you guys would like it if I streamed later, like I used to, but whatever. You're a 40-something-year-old in the body of a 70-year-old. I do actually need to see a doctor, because I haven't had an actual checkup since the pandemic hit. I've gone to, I'm a Kaiser Permanente. I've gone to Kaiser for various spot checking things, but I need to do my actual annual exam. I'm just afraid, like, there's probably all sorts of shit that was starting to be on my radar before that's probably afraid to get my blood work done, like what they're going to find. And, well, actually, I did get my blood work last year and it was better than it was before, but I can't see that continuing. You think I've got the mumps and mono and certainly the clap. And oh my gosh, it's Jaws, the shortest stream of all time. Now we're coming up on 3 hours, but I am stopping a little earlier than I normally do. It is a little shorter. Actually, yeah, most of my streams are all like 3 hours and change, and right now I'm looking at wrapping up and it's like 2 hours and 50 on the timer. I wonder if I've seen it before, because I'm pretty sure I've looked on Amazon before for melatonin. There was this stuff that I ended up using regularly, and it was like a time release stuff, and I thought it worked even better than the ones that I'm using, but that also I realized was 10 milligrams. So yeah, but I'll look into that. Next time I'm definitely going to get a lower dosage, so I feel a little less concerned about using it. Hey Joss, how's Stellaris going? You still been playing? I think the last time I got into Stellaris a couple times last year, but I always am getting frustrated. Because I get to a certain point, and then someone will declare war on me, and I'll be woefully underpowered, and just kind of be like, well, looks like they just start like tearing through my defenses, and I'm like, okay. Fun but hard. Okay, we're on the same page then, aren't we? Oh, you think having some sort of I'm afraid to say any specific words. I guess maybe speed is safe. Some stimulating substances? No, Brad. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that would be a good introduction into my life at this stage. Then stream for a couple days. Nope, never doing that again. I think I told that whole story to you guys once about I tried meth one time, and it was actually 30 years ago. Yeah, I was 19. Yeah, it was like almost exactly 30 years ago. It was one of my trips to Tijuana, and I met these guys. They were stuck. They needed a ride home, and I was like, all right, yeah, we'll give you a ride home. And it turned out they were meth dealers. They're super nice. And then they were like, hey, man, come. And I didn't even really understand what it was. They're calling it crystal. And I was like, yeah, I'll try. What is it like? And they just said, oh, it's like taking 4 shots, but no hangover. I didn't know what it was or what it did or whatever. So I was like, that sounds cool. And I was all drunk and stuff. So I went to their house and like, I put some in my nose, and then they were like smoking it. I took a couple big hits, and I was like, now I didn't realize I was like super wide awake and energetic. So I don't know that I ever felt like, because it also was, super late and I'd been drinking. So I don't think I've ever felt the real high that people get. I just was like, I don't think I've had enough, and I think I had too much. And I started freaking out. And like one of the guys there said I was turning purple, like my skin color was changing. But they said they thought it was just because I was freaking out. So like one of them just like, hey man, come in here, just calm down and have some orange juice or whatever. And so they calmed me down, and like nothing bad happened. But I was up for 2 to 3 days after that, and it was like I was freaked out the whole time. Or maybe I was already purple. I don't know. So, well, that's not how it felt for me. For me, it just felt like I was just suddenly, instead of being tired and drowsy from drinking, as I should have been, I was suddenly just awake. But I didn't experience any kind of, for me, I did not experience any kind of euphoria. I went from, when is this going to kick in, to all of a sudden realizing how fast my heart was beating. I think that's what set me off. I was sitting there and I thought I heard like a creaking sound. I thought it was like my shoulder joint creaking. And then I realized that was just my heart was beating so fast. And then that's when I tripped out. And I was like, what the fuck did you guys give me? Because, yeah, they didn't say it's a stimulant. It causes your heart race. They didn't tell me anything about what it did. They just said, oh, just like taking shots of tequila. It's like, okay. And my butthole was extremely sore afterwards. No, I never went unconscious or anything. Is that what you're saying? Like, I just blacked out and then I woke up and my ass hurt. So. Prescription speed will do better. Okay. Well, but I'm glad that my experience was so terrible. I'm honestly glad in retrospect, because then I had friends that got into it like a couple of years later. And if I hadn't had that terrible experience, because they came like, hey man, try this, it's awesome, whatever. Like this dude, he practically was like he should have been done late night infomercials for the damn stuff. He loved it so much and he had so many great things to say about it. He's kind of a dumbass. He was like, yeah, it's totally pure natural. I'm like, you're stupid as fuck, dude. That stuff's made out of like kitchen chemicals and shit. But anyways, by the time that was a way though that I could have been introduced to it, where I might have, like, if I had a friend that kind of knew more of what he was doing and eased me into the experience in a way that was actually pleasurable, instead of being at some stranger's house that I never met before, afraid I was going to die. It's possible I could have had a positive experience with it, and the people that I knew that got into it, shit got fucked up for them. This particular guy, his whole life got fucked up by it. His whole life became centered around it. Everything fell apart for him. And a couple of like his friends that I knew through them. And it's like, shit, I know my big thing about addiction, where I realized that I'm prone to it, is when I got into cigarettes. Like, I didn't think I always thought smokers were dumbasses. And then I tried smoking and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it was about 6 months as a smoker before I would admit that I was even a smoker. And then it was sort of like, then I couldn't stop. And I've smoked for 20 years. So when you guys met me, I was vaping. It was like a year or two after I actually quit cigarettes. It was 2 years after I quit smoking cigarettes. But that was enough experience for me to be like, yeah, I can and have gotten horribly addicted to a thing before and not been able to stop, or at least it was very difficult to stop. I took a powder, like it snorted. I took a line, and then they were smoking it like in a bong. So I think I had one little line, and then I had 2 very substantial inhalation hits off of the bong, maybe 3. And it's like where I was going for the last one, and the dude was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" He's like, "Slow down," because I didn't know how much was a lot. All I knew is I tried it, and I didn't think I was feeling anything. So in retrospect, I knew that, like, I was very energetic and awake and in a good mood, but I don't think I was experiencing that traumatic experience that some people have. Ketamine? I don't know much about ketamine. When I was in TJ, yeah, there were I made some questionable decisions. It's one of those things, looking back, that I'm terrified that I did the things that I did. Like, I don't have kids, but I feel like now I know where it's like parents, that they do all this crazy shit when they're teens and in their 20s, and then they get older and have kids, and they're like, I never want my fucking kid doing that. Because I look back at some of the situations that I got into, and I'm like, shit, things could have gone. There were so many instances where things could have gone really bad, and they just didn't. And there's still moments where I'll like my mind will drift to certain scenes of like encounters and things that I had with people where I'm like, I could have been in a lot of danger there, and at the time, I just was like completely looking at it from like a, you know, like this really almost innocent, naive perspective. You won't be stressed because it's a strong dissociative. Yeah, if I experimented with drugs that just caused me to have the opposite of panic attacks, you know. My brief foray into experimentation, and the thing is, that night that I did the meth was also the first time I ever tried weed, because of course I had weed too. And so after that, for years, every once in a while, and I never did weed regularly, but then I moved to college, and it was just around all the time. And the few times that I tried to do it, I would basically just start having a panic attack, because the sensation of feeling the weed was the same as I was feeling that night when I felt like I was dying. So it's like, yeah. Even now, it's like when I've tried the different weeds that my wife's brought home, I gotta be real careful with it to only have very little bit. Like, I think the last time I had something I remember that was a problem was one of the times we were camping a couple years ago. And it was like a strain of weed that is known to be a little bit stronger. And I was like, okay. And then I felt like sober, like it's not like being drunk, it's like this other thing. Like my body felt almost paralyzed. And then I started freaking out. And she's like, all right, you just need to calm down. You need to calm down. You're fine. All you got to do is just take a nap. I mean, the drug is forcing your body to basically be relaxed. It's just freaking your head out because it feels like it's beyond its control. I was really into in my 20s. And that was something that when I left college and I left the friends and that environment where the alcohol was around all the time, I just didn't do it. I just ended up not doing it that much anymore. And then I think because of me just not doing, and I never enjoyed the taste of it. I drank to get drunk when I drank. It was always, they call me Dr. Firewater because I'd have a sparklets plastic water bottle, like whatever, just sort of the Dasani or whatever, and I'd put vodka in it and carry it in the pocket inside of my jacket when we'd go places. And it was like ghetto. I should have got a flask, but I was cheap. I didn't have money then. And so I'd be drinking out of this water bottle, and it was like vodka. And I would psych myself up, and I would chug as much as I could before, it'd probably be the equivalent of like 4 to 5 shots that I would chug until I just my gag reflex caught up with me. And then I would chase it with Mountain Dew. And then I would be, within 5 minutes, I'd be completely shit-faced. But no, as I didn't drink on any regular basis, and later when I got in my later 20s and early 30s, I just was like, I would drink and I would start getting a hangover and an upset stomach as I was getting drunk. It's like everything, I'd get headaches. I don't know. It just physically stopped being pleasurable. So I stopped doing it for that reason. And then also early on when I first met Amanda, I got drunk one night and I really went on this weird, where I thought I was being super thoughtful or whatever. And I was in this weird, obnoxious, I think we were talking about I don't even remember. I think it was something about politics or society. And I thought I was being totally insightful and about she had this perspective, and I was trying to say, no, it's like this. And apparently I talked in drunken mental circles until 4 a.m. to she practically wanted to kill me. I was being so irritating about it. I would not drop it. She was finally just wanted to not talk about it anymore. And then the next day I was embarrassed about that. There were a couple other incidents. There was the time I think I was 29 or 30, and I met a girl who really liked me. who I kind of was like, she's nice, but I don't think I'm into her. And she booked a night at a hotel for us to do. It was like this place where it was supposed to be haunted, and she brought friends that had ghost hunting. She was like part of a ghost hunters group, so that was all cool. But then she's like, then we're gonna I booked a room so we could stay the night. And I think for her, like, we'd gone out a few times, and I think for her, she wanted that to be the night that we were gonna like consummate the relationship. And I was thinking, like, I do not want to cross that line with her, especially because I'm basically already like thinking I don't want it to go further. And then I got really drunk, and then my drunk self came up with some like this really bad strategy where if I just like am kind of an asshole, then maybe she won't want to go out with me anymore. So I was like telling her weird stuff like, oh, well, you know, I met this other girl that makes more money than you, and you know, that matters to me. And I actually had met another girl that I was just talking with that did make more money than her. But that was not normally something that I would actually give a shit about. That's not a reason. But I kept just saying stuff to her that was really, really hurtful. And in some sort of like this weird mindset that I was in, I was just like, well, I'm just gonna demonstrate that I'm not someone that she should be with. I would think she was like overweight too. And the thing is like my wife is overweight. I'm overweight. A lot of people I've dated are overweight. But I was talking to her like it was this problem. Like, oh yeah, you're kind of like, you know, the other women I'm looking at, they're not as overweight. Yeah, just like in retrospect, after the fact, like, and I kind of blacked out. I don't remember all of it. And I started getting sick in the middle of it, vomiting, and she took care of me while I was vomiting, and was like bringing me water and all this stuff. And then the next day, and the next morning, we woke up in this little tiny ass bed in this little hotel room, and it was just, I felt, first off, I was hungover as fuck. And then I woke up and she was like, we were like sleeping back to back, like facing away from each other. And I was disoriented. I'm like, where the hell am I? And then she was there. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. We're in this hotel room with her. And it was this slow dawning where when I woke up, I didn't remember all that shit. And then I was like, wait a minute, was I a complete piece of shit to her last night? Because that's not my MO to be that way. It was just something when I was super drunk in the moment, dealing with this dilemma of how do I not make this thing go forward with this girl? My brain came up with this fucked up, like, hey, maybe I should try this. No, my butt was fine, Maxie. Okay, yeah. I think I brought up that story one other time on one of my streams, and that is actually one of the when I pissed off my wife. That was a couple years after that with my wife. Well, she wasn't my wife at that point, but Amanda. Mr. Slaw. By the way, Mr. Slaw told me to tell you all hello this evening when I was coming in to do my stream. I almost forgot to tell you that Mr. Slaw is my wife's online nickname. So to say hi. But yeah, I felt so horrible. And then I was so sick that I missed work that day too. And I kind of got in trouble from that. And so that was like, all of that together was one of the instances where I was just like, I don't know if the way that I relate to alcohol, I don't enjoy drinking to get drunk. And then when I do get drunk, getting like out of control drunk. I've never been violent or anything like that, but I think like, yeah, I have a potential to fuck some shit up drinking. And then also a lot of time I just feel like shit when I'm drinking anyways, just physically. Not one of the proudest moments in my life. No, definitely not. And it's funny too, because now at this point in my life, I'm pretty much such like a homebody stick in the mud, like guy that doesn't like, now I'm the dude that never drinks, and everyone probably thinks I'm this huge prude. Like all my wife's family, and they're always drinking wine, drinking beer. And I'm just like, oh, I'll have water. No, I'll have water. If they have soda, I will, but typically none of them have soda. They just all have water and a bunch of alcohol. Just like, no, just have water. it just seemed like such a priss or something. But no, because yeah, and then the alcoholism runs in my family too. Like a lot of people in my family have had issues with alcoholism. So yeah, all together, just like no, for me, it's just something I need to stay away from. And just in general, stuff that has a reputation for being addictive and ruining people's lives. I'm like, yeah, I could be that guy if I let myself be that guy. I'd rather not be that guy. I'll just keep my addiction to food and video games and physical inactivity. That's all good. That's going to catch up with me eventually. It's like I was watching a documentary and about Chris Farley that came. I think that was on net. I don't know. I forget where it came out. But it was in the last year. There was a Chris Farley, like his last days, and like during his last year or so, someone gave him advice, and they're like, you know what, you can be fat, or you can do a bunch of drugs, but you can't be fat like this and do a bunch of drugs, because the two of those things together is going to kill you. So that's often how I look when I think about the possibility of adopting additional bad habits in my life. It's like, you know what? I'm just based on the shit I already got, the health challenges that I've already got. I'm so glad I don't drink or smoke anymore. Smoking was a big one. I'm still a little surprised I got away from that, because for 20 years I tried multiple times to quit, and I just felt like I'm never going to be able to quit. I just kept getting sucked back into it. Quitting smoking is one of the proudest things in my life. I can't say a moment, because at the time that I did it, I didn't know for sure that I'd done it, but I'm pretty happy about that. If you'd asked 10 years ago, I couldn't have imagined like just not having cigarettes. And thinking about like being a non-smoker, I'm like, what would I do without my cigarettes? Like to break up the day and get me through the day. If you make it to 70, you're going back to smoking all the time. It might not matter then. I mean, the thing about smoking is yeah, it's really bad for you. I mean, there are people that smoke until, they're 90 years old, and then they die of something else. So it's not always going to kill everybody, but there's a very strong statistical correlation between smoking and people not living to 90. But yeah, the other thing that I didn't like about it was how I felt controlled by it, and I didn't realize how much I did feel controlled by it. I wasn't conscious of it until I stopped. But I realized, like, I was always worried about when am I going to be able to smoke next, because you're always at people's houses where you can't smoke in their houses. You go to restaurants, you can't smoke in the restaurants. You go doing things, you can't smoke anywhere. So I had a lot of anxiety all the time about planning all my whatever I was going to do to try to make sure I'd be able to find opportunities to smoke. And then if I knew I was doing stuff where I wouldn't be able to smoke for a while, I would, like, if I knew I'd have to go more than 2 hours, I'd be kind of like, I'd start getting a little stressed and a little bit like testy about it too. So couldn't you just step outside? Well, yeah, you can, but sometimes it's just, I can't remember the things that come up where it was sort of like frowned upon for me to go outside, or not acceptable to walk out from wherever I was. Well, I couldn't smoke on the airlines because a lot of the places where you could smoking was banned, at least in California, by the time that I started smoking. I picked up smoking in 1994. Yeah, I think it was 94. And it was 93. Anyway, I think it was 94. And you could still, I think there were still smoking sections. Like I remember going to Denny's and there were still smoking sections in restaurants that were banned literally like 6 months after I started smoking. they were banned. But I remember when I was a kid, like in the grocery store, there were ashtrays like at the end of every aisle and stuff, and people walking around smoking. And that was all done. I mean, smoking was already banned in a lot of places by the time I actually smoked. You smoked on an airplane from Hong Kong in 1995? Maybe I just wasn't riding on airplanes then. Now that I think about it, yeah, I didn't ride on airplanes in the 90s for the most part. There was a period after I moved out of my parents' house that occasions stopped coming up where I would fly places. Because usually if I flew growing up, it was with them. And then it wasn't until my mom moved to Vancouver, Washington. That's where I originally ended up. Eventually, after college, after a couple of years, I moved up to live with her, sort of get my bearings. That's how I ended up figuring out going to law school. But yeah, she was. Where the fuck am I talking about? This just happened again. I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, airplanes. For a few years, that's when I started going up to visit her again, and I think she moved up in there in like 1998. And by then, I'm pretty sure smoking was done, or at the very least, it was done on the airplanes that I rode on. Yeah, airports was like one of the stressful things too, and they were phasing out smoking more and more. And the last time that like I went to LAX as a smoker, there's this one little small area. And I remember at one point you had to go back out of security and check. You had to go back through the security line if you wanted to go have a cigarette. And it was after 9/11, so like the security lines were really long. It was a pain in the ass. And you had to get to the airport early because we actually had it where we got there 2 hours early, but it wasn't early enough one time when we missed our flight because the check-in line was so long. Oh, maybe it's international. Okay. Non-smoking law. Bowling alleys. It should be mandatory, not just allowed, but mandatory. And bowling alleys. Okay, Brad, and now that you mentioned it, when I'm picturing bowling alley in my mind, I'm thinking vaguely the scent of like the background scent of smoke. That was like video game arcades and Las Vegas. That's one thing I haven't been back to. We got married in Las Vegas, and we would go a couple times a year at least and spend, a few days there at a time and just go to the penny slots and get free drinks and chain smoke. Go from casino to casino and then look around at stuff and for years after I quit smoking, I avoided. I said, this is going to be a huge trigger because that's all we did back there is walk around and smoke, sit at the slots and smoke and drink. And those were like the things that's what I loved about Vegas. You could smoke anywhere and they were constantly bringing you free drinks while you did it. And at the IT crowd, smoking used to be so cool. And they keep getting pushed farther and farther away. Like first they have to go outside, and then it's like a little box they gotta stand. And finally they gotta like walk along the side of a highway for like a mile and out in some field. And there's some like there's some little shack or something they all have to squeeze into and smoke. Oh man, IT crowd is so classic. All right. Oh shit, you guys. I accidentally talked for 45 minutes when I was planning on wrapping up the stream. Pachinko places in Japan are bad for you. You probably get the nicotine you need just from walking into one. Okay. Well, that's one thing about Vegas, though. Is Vegas is their air systems are pretty well ventilated, unless you're sitting right next to someone who's smoking. Of course, this is coming from a guy that never went to Vegas when he wasn't a smoker, so I actually can't vouch for this. If you go to Vegas, like one of those big casinos, as a non-smoker, If it doesn't, the whole place doesn't still smell like smoke. Super lots of smokers in Japan, huh? All right, you guys. Seriously, gotta go. I need to get some sleep. So, and you all need to calm down, you guys. You're all talking, you're all chatting, carrying on conversation, all lively like. You guys should all go to sleep. Even Brad, especially Brad. Brad, Brad, you got to keep up your strength with all that you're going through right now in China. So, no, don't get amped up. Don't go. These are terrible ideas. Don't go shopping for meth. You know what it is. You need to calm down. Here. I'm just gonna like this. You know what's gonna happen next. Even you, Brad. Well, I know, Joss, and that's one reason why I wanted to hang on a little longer too, is because I know that you got, you're a busy guy, you got stuff going on, and you can't always make it to the stream. So, so when you showed up, you do have this history of showing up like on the thank you screen, the goodbye screen. So yeah, it's one of the reasons I stayed a little extra was so you could have some G-Law time with Joss, Gonna try, yeah, the dude that was trying to sell me on it, well, that was one of his big things, was like, oh yeah, it keeps you fit and in shape. It's like, the spider sense only works when the stream's gonna end. That's fair. That's just sounds like a true story. All right, I'm gonna stop talking now, and then this is gonna happen. Wait, hold on. Which one's gonna happen? Why do I have two of them again? This is okay. There we go. Go to sleep and good night. Your eyes are getting so heavy. Go to sleep now. Brad Pritchard, Joss Sadai, EV23, J Maxi, Nick C. And my tooth is definitely gone. I'll be waiting for you in your dreams. James Baker. Jeff Harbaugh. Harbaugh. Who else can still be here? I think that covers it. Matisse left. Good night, Matisse, wherever you are.